Yeah. OnChain revolution, you're not bullish enough. OnChain revolution, you're not bullish enough. Every day we steady looking at the market, and we gon' tell you how to get started. Chain abstraction, fear and greed index, always looking at price action. Roll call in advance, you don't even gotta mention. Swap it in the deck, you're not bullish enough. Trade it in the segs, you ain't trenching enough. We do that market recap. Too much Bitcoin, gotta go to rehab. Shizzy and Yagobi. OnChain revolution, network in the art. Every day we go live, baby, you know where we are. We mention all the networks and the crypto. Need some more liquidity. Flipping and trading is the recipe. Too many protocols to count. I get high and I'm never coming down. Number go up, then I'ma say peace. Yeah, you thought that I was gonna leave. Yeah, we just getting started, man. OnChain revolution. Every day. Bring the beat back. Eyes everywhere, gotta be careful with volatile meme coins. You can get some bread if you round trip it, then you gon' regret. All this information in my head. BYOR, touch grass instead. Nobody really knows how it's gonna end up today. Somebody gotta tell you what's happening today. I don't let the money change me, no way. OnChain revolution, here to stay. Yeah, say I'm Sage, man. Voodoo 2 on the way. Yeah. Nicky's. Yeah. OnChain revolution. OnChain. Hey, OnChain revolution. Bitcoin not an illusion. Market recaps, then I do a roll call. You're not bullish in the vocal. Look at the price action, yeah, send it to the deck. Sell it through the spec. Order knows the best. Too much Bitcoin, gotta go to read. If you end up bearish, gotta put the knee pad. Let me see the comments. Look at the fear and greed index. Bridge. Look at the chart.
Welcome back to OnChain Revolution. My name is Shizzy. On this channel, we cover the entire Bitcoin crypto ecosystem. What's up, guys? We have an amazing July 4th episode for you guys today. We are live, guys, and so a lot of channels, they're not doing it live today, but we are. We don't stop here, guys. We are the most consistent channel in the entire Bitcoin crypto ecosystem 100% of the time. We got Bitcoin right now sitting at 107,932. Kind of expected, right? Yesterday's jobs number was heavily like manipulated. Obviously, it was like, I don't know, when the other administration like did this type of stuff, it wasn't so obvious. Yesterday was super obvious, and we did see Polymarket go pretty much say, hey, we're not having a rate cut, and that's kind of why I think markets are kind of going sideways today. We do have a bunch of Bitcoin wallets waking up, some with 10,000 Bitcoin. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the price of Bitcoin every July 4th for the last 10 years. We'll get into that. So much to talk about, guys. Let's just hop right into it right now. But without further ado, bring my partner here, as always, Mr. Yagobi. What's up, buddy?
What's up? What's up,
man? How you feeling today?
I'm feeling okay. There's a lot of weird energy out there, but at the end of the day, guys, no one said this would be easy. No one said it was going to be a walk in the park. If it was, everybody would be here still. You be in that top 1% that hangs through all the ups and downs. And happy 4th of July to everybody. Look, at the end of the day, yeah, I'm trying here. Yeah.
Crypto summers are just awful, right? Like, I mean, every year we have this facade of potential having a bull, and I get fooled into it too, right? Potential having a bullish summer, and every summer is exactly the same, just dead. When I say dead, I don't mean price action. I mean the amount of people on Twitter, the amount of people talking about crypto. It's really dead right now.
It is. You're starting to notice it more and more on X. Yeah, let's say maybe 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, there was some liveliness. A lot had to do with the dog community. A lot has to do with certain things. But like, it does seem like whenever there's like a couple of bad headlines, they just ghost real quick. And I think that's because the summer population isn't that big to begin with on crypto Twitter, right? So once we do build some momentum, it just sucks whenever that air gets sucked out no pun intended there, but and that's what happens, right? But we're here every day, and I think it behooves everybody that really wants to, you know, have success to continually just stay consistent and learn as much as possible, even if it's not an easy day to wake up and start researching. I think you got to do it, man. You got to do it because this is your one chance that you didn't take advantage of, possibly in the 08, 09 you know, recession, and or like the dot-com boom, right? So this is another opportunity like that to where you can, you know, have generational wealth change, you know, for your family, your bloodline, whatever you want to say. And so that's why I say might not be easy, but just put your boots on and get at it.
Yeah, 100%. And like candles like this 4-hour one right here is not helping, right? So when you said like, you know, this type of stuff right here, when you get a breakout like that and you're feeling bullish, and then you got to get pulled back into this triangle that we've been into. I mean, we've been in this triangle since I want to say May, right? So really want to kind of go back even to, you know, May 7th. We've been just up, touch the top there, came back down, fake out there, come back up here, fake out here, and then see what happens next. But I'm seeing a lot of people kind of post this type of chart here and basically say we might need to come back down first, touch to here before we do a real breakout. But we'll see, right? So, but this now I'm kind of seeing potential, you know, maybe September. So hopefully I'm wrong.
Yeah. And the thing about it is we get to kind of see a lot of data and figure out what direction we feel like it's going to go. And it's hard to be 100% right. No one is in our space. No one is in any space. But you get kind of like the 65, 70% like in the right direction. And then something happens. And then, you know, and then so maybe that's the case. Like if you're saying September might be what happens, we just have a little bit of this downturn and then it turns around in August or whatever. So we'll just see how the rest of this month plays, take it day by day, and, you know, continue to bring the news to the great people and audience of On-Chain Revolution. And that's what we'll do. You and I both have that 100%. Same mindset, and we come to work. So
yeah. So but let's jump into the giveaway. So this is giveaway number 4. I'm going to be doing them until I run out of passes. So we'll see. I got to check how many I have left. I think I have a lot. But,
I have a couple too, though.
Yeah, man. So we got 63 members right now. I definitely want to do it until we get 100 members in here. So all you guys have to do to join this giveaway is just come in here and be one of the 63 members here. Just join, and then you're good. And then what I do every morning, I go in here, I'll go to the bottom, and then I'll add whoever is new, and I will follow you as well. So anyone in here, just go to the bottom there, and I will follow you. And then if you get the follow, means you are on the wheel. And this is everyone that's on the wheel. 63 people on here, so let's give this thing a spin.
Good luck, everybody.
That's me. 98, congratulations to you. I will be reaching out to you, or you can reach out to me. And then yeah, I'll send you your flu pass. But congratulations. And guys, we're doing another one on Monday, so you have all weekend now to get in here for the giveaway. Get rid of this. All right, let's jump into the main topic of today. Lummis tax boost, BTC plus Ondo RWAs explode. 99% of Bitcoin wallets are in profit. So first thing on that is Senator Lummis introduced crypto tax legislation setting a $300 transaction threshold, ending double taxation on mining and staking, and aligning digital assets with the traditional finance. This is pretty big because now this is going to open up a world where buying stuff with Bitcoin isn't double taxed anymore. And when I say double tax is when you sell it, you got to pay the tax on what, twice, right? Is that what she's kind of saying here?
The sales tax, and then you know, and then also probably sales tax for whatever transaction or whatever you know, the what am I saying? The business that you're purchasing it with, or whatever you're doing with that part. So 2 transactions there. Also, it helps out with the mining and staking. And staking is going to be more prevalent. We know that in the Bitcoin ecosystem. So many people are building for staking. So this is really big for that sector. That's going, in my opinion, is going to be big. A lot of people only associate staking with Ethereum and EVM stuff, but it's coming. It's already here. And like Fluid does it on layer 1, but there's going to be this whole nother sector of scaled solution staking, you know, making the UI UX better. So
100%. The next part of that is Ondo and Pantera set aside $250 million to fund projects that turn real assets like bonds, real estate, and art into blockchain tokens. It will back RWA tokenization and existing chains of Ethereum and XRP, where Ondo's treasury tokens OUSG and USDY already live. So, yeah. So, what do you think about this? What do you think about Pantera actually saying, "Hey, we want to fund this. We want to bring RWA on chain"?
I think this is great because RWA has just really been a buzz phrase or buzz acronym, I guess you would say, the past 2 years, right? And the thought process, the idea of it is really intriguing. It makes sense. You're like, oh wow, this is gonna be huge. RWA. But the space, the Web3 space by itself hasn't really created like robust, strong products yet for it.
It's true.
And so what they're trying to do is say, hey, look, we're gonna kind of speed race this. We're gonna throw $250 million into backing these RWA type assets and infrastructure. Let's get this going. And I think this is good because some of these Web3 builders will see the pros, and I hate to call them that, but they are. When you're talking about RWA stuff like bonds and these type of TradFi assets, they're gonna see how they do it, and then the Web3 can kind of copy them a little bit to see, maybe they and this is probably the only part of them merging that our native builders would kind of take some tips and stuff from. I think everything else they're gonna have to learn from us, I feel like.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, coming on chain, you have to figure out where you're going to hold these assets from. There's a lot that comes into this. It isn't just like, hey, make an NFT and back it. That's not how this works, right? You got to actually build the rails to get all this started. And it does look like Pantera wants to be, they're going to make out like bandits if they get it right. And when everything comes online, because everything will be coming on chain, it's just a matter of time. They might be one of the biggest winners in that for sure. But the third part of today's title is 99% of Bitcoin holders are in profit as Bitcoin nears all-time high. So Bitcoin is about 3% away from its all-time high of 112 or 111.9, where depending on where you look at it. And almost everyone is in profit right now, which, a lot of people would say is a top signal, but it doesn't feel that way in our space.
It doesn't feel that way in our space because we have this gauge in our minds, and everybody's, pretty much on the same page with that spends time in our space. That, hey, look, we got, this much time to kind of hit these levels, but that's a really bullish kind of sign for the people that held Bitcoin throughout this entire time, right? 99% is pretty wild, but it also makes you think, because I know there's some news headlines that ancient wallets waking up and stuff. This could be part of it. They're like, okay, I wanted to wait until it hit this certain threshold, or if it got rejected at like 110 this many times, I was gonna tell myself this is it. I'm gonna sell a portion of it. So we'll see what this means. But this is in terms of believers, new believers, this is a good stat to put out there as a headline, because basically you're telling them, hey, look, 99% of people that bought and hold Bitcoin are in profit right now. So you can say Bitcoin is a scam or it's a Ponzi, all these things, but this headline tells you different. If you just hodl, you win.
100%. Let's just jump into the price of Bitcoin every single 4th of July. So let's go back. 2010, the price of Bitcoin was 0.01. In 2011, 4th of July, it was $15. It did take a setback in 2012. It was $7, but then did a 10x the following year in 2013 at $77, and then did a 900% to $640 in 2014, and then fell back a little bit in 2015 back to $260, and then bounced right back the following year at 2016. It was $670, and then boom, 2017 came around, that bull market. It was $2,600. 2018, it was $6,500. 2019, it was 1,100. Look at 3 years in a row. 2017, 2018, and 2019. You basically doubled your money each time, right? And then 2020, it was 9,000, right? And then 2021, it was 34,000. 2022, back to 19. And then 2023, 31. Last year, it was 58. And today, it's above 108,000. Pretty nuts to look at. In the matter of 15 years, you're seeing 1 penny to 108,000.
Yeah, it is pretty nuts. But I think you can, anybody that has half a brain can really just see what the pattern is here, and yes, you might skip 1 year here or there, but you know the ultimate pattern is it grows when you zoom out, right? And it sucks because I know of people that like mortgaged their house in 2021 and bought Bitcoin, and because of the 2022 they sold their Bitcoin at like that 16 to 20,000, and in my mind I'm like, I wish that someone had just showed them this list, you know, and be like, hey, look, do whatever you have to do to hold it, because eventually we know. And I know there was less data at that point, but I think this is the lesson for anybody that's listening that might be new to Bitcoin or crypto is look at this, zoom out. And when you look at this, there's one answer, and it's very simple and straightforward. Bitcoin number go up.
Yeah, of course. What do you think about this? So right now we are about 4 years of positives. 2022, 19. Let's just go. That's to say that was the bottom. 2023, 31. 2024, 58. 2025, 108. We've never had 4 years. I guess back here we had 5 years before a dip.
Well, no,
and then we had
it dipped from 2011 to 2012 though. Barely.
Oh yeah, you're right. Okay. Yeah. So let's say this was the bottom. We had 1, 2, 3. Okay. And then we had 1, 2, 3, 4.
4. There you go. 5.
Okay. So this was 5 in a row. Right. So, and then potentially we see, let's just say, go back to 19, 31. Let's just next year, 4th of July, what, 700K? and then a dip. We'll see.
I think most people are assuming 2026 is going to be that second 5 year in a row, right?
Yeah. No, 100%. I guarantee it is. I'm actually betting on it that it is. And then let's just say we get to next 4th of July. Let's just say in May we hit 700K, and then we have a little bit of falling down to 400K. I think next year this is going to say 400K, but I do think in 2027 we're going to be potentially in between wherever we're at this year and next year. But we'll see.
Yeah.
All right. The story of today is dormant wallets waking up. We had 3 dormant wallets wake up this morning, sitting in 14 years, holding 10,000 BTC awaken, worth 34,000 in 2011, now worth over $1 billion. So we're getting multiple reports that it's multiple wallets. It's getting kind of scary because there's a thing called quantum computing, right? Let me actually show this chart here. So this is a quantum vulnerable Bitcoins over time. So back in 2009, all the wallets started with a 1, right? That was the classic, the old school wallets, right? And if you look today, most of the wallets are Taproot. Would start with BC1. Right. Then we have stuff that are BC1Q, and then there's BC1G or something. So that they're like the SegWits. And then we have it starts with a 3 back here. They're saying the ones that start with a 1, including all Satoshi's wallets, are vulnerable to quantum computing, while the ones that are Taproot are actually not. They're not as vulnerable. But we are seeing wallets waking up today, and those wallets did start with a 1, and some people are assuming that potentially those wallets are being hacked open by quantum computing. What do you think?
Yeah, so this has been something. I think it's like this kind of speculative nightmare, and I know when I would bring it up before, it would probably be exaggerated a little bit, but just because I love sci-fi and and it's actually not sci-fi anymore because it's actually real. But the thing is that we knew that there's a possibility of this, but that means that the current quantum chips, the Willow chip and stuff like that, are in my opinion in the wrong hands if that ever happened, or another country. We talked about North Korea obviously being one that could have that technology as well. I don't think that's the case. I think you had a really good possibility option in pre-show talking about maybe they're waking them up to upgrade their wallets, because they don't want to be susceptible to these attacks, right? And so that could be the case. I mean, if I had that much Bitcoin, and even if I was just wanting to be quiet and just sell it like 10, 20 years down, I'm going to upgrade it because of all the advancements that's been happening lately, right? So I think that is probably most likely the case. Either that or a little bit of profit taking, maybe, because like we said, 99% of Bitcoin wallets that are in profit right now. So
yeah, 100%. So what I'm assuming is happening is back then in 2010, 2011, Satoshi first introduced it was already in the code, but started telling people about, hey, there's a thing called time locking. So take a few $1,000s and just lock it up for 15 years. And technically, if you go back to 2010, 15 years from then would be today, right? So if somebody was like, okay, I'm going to lock it for 15 years, I'm going to go to you're guessing because 10-minute blocks, right? Because you can't lock it up to a certain year or day, but you can lock it up to a certain block
height.
And some of them were locking them up to block 900,000. And that could be why we're seeing a lot of these old wallets from 14, 15 years ago actually open up, because back then I don't think you were really assuming that these block times would actually be faster. So 15 years is now 14 years because of the hash rate and how quickly these blocks are opening. But you take 15 years, take a couple of seconds off that, you actually get a few months or even a year shorter time frame. So you are seeing, I'm thinking these geniuses from 2010 were actually taking a portion of their stack, small portion of their stacks, and locking them
at
up.
the time.
Back then, back then 100,000 was very easy. I mean, the pizza guy, he had over 250,000 Bitcoin when he gave away 10,000.
Yeah.
Right. So back, people will look back on him and say, "What an idiot!" But at the time, he was the largest holder of Bitcoin. Right. He and Satoshi asked him, "Hey, might be a good idea for you to kind of give some away to kind of strengthen the
distribution."
Yeah, distribution, 100%. So, and then he might have said, "Hey, this could be one of Laszlo's wallets waking up, right? He might have locked them up for 15 years." But it is probably smart if you did have them in a wallet to transfer them to a Taproot address, and a more upgraded standard of a wallet address.
100% it is. And that goes for everybody that even the Taproot addresses, which they're less susceptible, but whatever new the most quantum resistant wallets that end up coming out, everybody will upgrade that. That's a quick, not quick, but people know that that's what they need to do. And so this is just really smart, that first step for those old ones that are more susceptible. So we'll see if that's the case, and we'll see if any other ones open up awaken, because it does make people kind of raise their eyebrows and be like, oh crap, what does this mean? But at the same time, every once in a while you'll hear about an ancient Bitcoin wallet kind of waking up, but 3 in a short period of time is where people are kind of scratching their head.
Yeah, unless let's just say a group of people, let's just say me and you were hanging out and we learned about this time locking, and we're like, hey, well, we'll lock it up together. It could be that, right? It could have been 3 wallets opening up at the same time, 3 different people, and they were all just smart enough to shizzy proof it from themselves, right? Because I mean, they might have sold it in last year, they might have sold it 4 years ago, but when you time lock your Bitcoin, you can't open it until that block height. So. All right, moving along here. So the biggest news of yesterday was the U.S. House passes the President Trump's big, beautiful, bloated bill. So it is passed today. It's officially, and the White House says President Trump will sign it today at 5 p.m. while eating cheeseburgers and barbecuing. So they're going to have a big event July 4th at the White House, and he's going to actually sign the bill, because Trump apparently doesn't take any days off like we don't. So he'll be out there today signing it. What do you think about this bill passing? Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Where's your head at? Where's your mindset with this?
Yeah, originally, first of all, there's 2 separate perspectives that I have: the bill itself, and then how it will affect the financial markets. I think the bill itself, is not the best. There's a lot of things that could be much better in it, and then how it will affect the markets. I think that it will affect it in a positive way, because now there's going to be a lot more capital that goes into our economy and spreads out. There's going to be tax savings from companies, corporations, that type of thing. So it will kind of spur the economy here. So in that case, I think it's bullish.
Yeah, I agree. But the M2 money supply is already at an all-time high, right?
True.
What does this do for this chart? And just take a look at this real quick. This is the debt, right? This thing is speeding now, dude. I mean, every second is 100. It's like 100 grand at this point. The national debt is insanity, and people are reporting we're gonna hit 40 trillion by the end of this year. We're gonna add $3 trillion in debt from this bill alone this year.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, the infrastructure bill had I think 2 trillion that it was adding to our deficit. But look, this pipe dream of us being able to chop this down is just, I don't know, man. I don't want to say give up on that, but it's just it doesn't go the other direction ever. like ever. I mean, like,
Yeah, but
like in the 90s, like I think Bill Clinton was the last president that actually was able to like bring the deficit down at all. I could be wrong on that, by the way, chat. So if I am, call me out. I don't care. But
the
go ahead.
problem is we got to pay 4%. Whatever we got to pay 4% a year. So if we take this, I mean, think about that, dude. So 4% of $40 trillion is $200 billion a year. That's just going to people like
Other countries,
other countries and people hold bonds, because that's one thing people don't understand about this. Like, oh, who do we owe this money to? Well, we create this money by issuing bonds. Like when we talk about the money printer is only us creating bonds and selling them into the market to people that want to get basically free money on their money. Basically, they want to get interest on their money.
Yeah, I mean, until I actually see that number go the other direction, I don't have faith that it's going to, and I don't have faith that this government's gonna do it. The best shot that I think we had was this run when we brought Doge in, and brought up all of the fraud, waste, and abuse, and this bill that the current administration says, yeah, even though we are increasing the deficit, like right when from a paper standpoint, we're going to be able to ignite the economy so much to where the government can make enough to be able to start chopping it down. I won't believe that until I see that number start to reverse, is what I'll say. And it's not just this administration. Every administration does it. They just, but I mean, I don't know what to say here, except for
$3 trillion added in 1 year.
2.
We see 2, but never potentially 3.
A trillion's a lot. A trillion's a lot,
dude. I know, it's insane, but this is so good for Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin is the ultimate asset. You can track it on chain. You can say gold. This is going to benefit gold too, but we don't know how much gold is out there. We know the exact number of Bitcoin that there ever will be. That's 21 million. We know the exact number of Bitcoin that has never moved in the last 15 years. We do know that, let's just say there's, over the time, Bitcoin, every dollar this time it goes up, you should see the Bitcoin number go up too, because that is the amount of people that are going to be leaving the dollar and putting their money in something safer that's going up every single year, almost, I mean, on a scale of almost every single year, it is going up against this number right here.
Yeah, of course. And, I think that's going to be like a safe haven asset.
Yeah.
Gold will still be, one of those options, but I mean, at the end of the day, you've said it yourself, like, the dollar is destined to go to zero, right? Whether that takes 50 years, 100 years, whatever. So having these other assets that you can feel safer in is going to be important. Bitcoin's going to be one of at the top of that, in my opinion.
In 20 years, bread's going to be $1,000 a loaf. Milk's going to be $1,400 a gallon, right? It's only a matter of time. It's going that way, right? Because of the fact that they're just printing so much money. So when you go to the store and you say, "Oh wow, the price is up," the price isn't up. The dollar is just worth less. It's going to be worth less until it's worthless, right? I mean, at the end of the day.
I mean, we like the hyper inflation. We saw that with Venezuela. You see what happens, right? And the gallon of milk costs like however many of their fiat currency, but it happens. Definitely, that's why the prices continually go up over time, and unfortunately, the salaries don't match that. No. They do increase, but they have to because of the goods increasing so much because of the weakened dollar. So I don't know, man. Yeah. I just want to be able to get a good experience of one of these cycles and be like, okay, I'm good. It doesn't matter if the inflation it shoots up 2,000%. Obviously, society would not be in a good place, but that's why you got to plan. You got to plan for your future, for your generation, generations behind you's future and stuff, for your specific family and stuff. So,
yep. All right, moving along. So there is some good news today. The U.S. House announces Crypto Week for July 14th to July 18th. So they said Crypto Week, but it's 4 days. So I feel like we're getting gypped already. Featuring consideration of 3 major bills: Clarity Act, the Anti-CBDC Surveillance State Act, and Genius Act. And there's a rumor that the 15th is going to be ETF day when Solana, XRP, Cardano. It's just funny that there's been a rumor saying July 15th. And now all of a sudden, the powers to be make the July 14th, July 18th crypto week. I think this is going to be an absolute major week. But, I'm thinking next week is going to be upward momentum, because a lot of the times the markets are forward looking, right? So looking forward to potential announcements between these 4 days.
I think it's pretty cool, but there's been a lot of these titles slapped on to things like like the National Crypto Convention or dinner at the White House, right? So to me, I feel like they're really just trying to amp up more marketing for crypto. But at the end of the day, like these acts and the regulations and laws and stuff going in, becoming live and stuff is important for infrastructure. And I love the name of the middle one there, the Anti-CBDC Surveillance State Act. I love that. But yeah, look, at the end of the day, like we are building towards this new financial system, and the TradFi guys are realizing that they're coming on board to help build it. Obviously, like they're gonna do a lot of things their way, but we gotta kind of realize that we were here first and learn as much as we can, but also just be ahead of it, because I do think that the people that were here have the edge. So we'll see.
100%.
This is and the ETF part, man, that's just the icing on the cake.
100%, dude. U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says there's $2 trillion in possible stablecoin U.S. Treasuries demand. This has I've been saying for a while. Bo Hines came out. He is the digital asset industry. He's like the leader of that or something. Could hit 15 to 20 trillion as U.S. pursues Bitcoin accumulation, mining partnerships, stablecoin driven dollar dominance. So we have these two things, Scott Bessent and Bo Hines coming out and saying this is going to be absolutely huge. And then we have the naysayer JP Morgan predicts stablecoin growth will only reach 500 billion. That's only a 4x from where it is today, cutting trillion-dollar projections in half, citing minimal payments adoption. So why is Scott Bessent and Bo Hines coming out and saying there's going to be trillions of dollars of stablecoins coming online, and then JP Morgan coming out and saying, maybe half of that?
Because he's a party pooper. I feel like he's like the ultimate party pooper.
What benefit though it comes out of him saying this?
Maybe
circle.
Well, maybe, but also discouraging like companies from like going into a very quickly saturated, competitive new market in stable coins, right? But with that being said, like they have their own stable coin as well, right? That they're developing, the JPM or whatever. I don't know what it's called, but I'm sure that's the thing.
Their own chain, and rumor has it that their gas token is going to be a stable coin.
Okay, there you go. So I mean, he talks crap about stuff that he's in, the company's in. And so to me, I just don't take any headline that he puts out there serious. He's been wrong about Bitcoin, saying it's a pet rock and that it's not gonna, he had to change the way he would talk about it. Initially, it's not going to do well. Now he's like, it's a pet rock still, but yeah, it'll go up. But at the end of the day, it's like these old men that are like were in very strong positions of power, like they can't like admit things, and I feel like this is just him trying to show that he thinks he's smarter than everybody else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You have, he says the minimal payment adoptions. Then why is Visa and MasterCard everywhere, trying to be everywhere with crypto right now? You know what I mean? So what is he even talking about with that? PayPal's in the game. You have Crack now, which is Kraken's kind of peer-to-peer. You have Kraken's peer-to-peer application that's out. That's going to have to do with payments as well. So it's to me, I think it's ridiculous what he's saying, and I think we're going to have much more than 500 billion.
I agree. I mean, Circle mints another 250 million USDC on Solana today, right?
Yeah,
today. So it's like, come on, JP Morgan, like, come on. And then Tether actually made $5.2 billion in 2024 from interest on its U.S. Treasuries. So when we talk about going back to previously, when we talk about like the debt, right? We got to pay interest on that debt. We're paying that to companies like Tether. We're paying them $5.2 billion to hold our debt, right? This is insanity. Look at this chart too. This is basically U.S. Treasury bonds, cash equivalents, other investments. Look at the Treasury bonds they hold. They hold like almost 9% in Treasury bonds that are backing the stable coins that they have. Insanity, bro.
Yeah, look, they just made $5.2 billion, right, in 2024 from a strategic business move that they did a while ago that probably other stable coins are looking around now and saying, why didn't we do that? You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And they always get knocked on, they always get spit on, but then they're just like, okay, we're gonna buy a bunch of yachts.
Yeah.
but we're gonna do it strategically and flip them and make a ton of profit from it. Like, they're not your typical probably like conglomerate or like huge like corporation or anything like that, but what they've been doing has made
Yeah.
them very successful, and that's, you got to appreciate that.
Well, the problem is this one, other investments. This is the problem. This is why Tether won't go public, because we don't know what's in here. Right? Is it yachts? Is it, like, what is it? What you got back in the Tether? This is the problem.
They bought
8%
of their wealth is in islands, private islands that they bought.
Dude, that's probably a good investment. You're gonna back your USDT against it, right? I mean, I don't know. Moving along here though. Vitalik Buterin says Ethereum has succeeded beyond anyone's expectations. What do you think? Do you think this is true? Do you think Ethereum? I mean, when we say stable coins, right? There's two chains stable coins are getting put on: it's SVM and EVM, right? And Ethereum is the Ethereum in EVM.
Yeah, so this might also be, a little slight at some of these Bitcoin maxis as well, because he kind of got pushed out as a developer and visionary from the Bitcoin ecosystem. He was a part of developing the colored coins on Bitcoin. Let's not forget that. And so they didn't want him around anymore because they're like, you're trying to change everything too much, right? So this is kind of probably like an FU to them, I would say, a little bit. But definitely from when they had their IPO, or in, was it 2017 to
14 was the IPO.
Was it? Wow.
Yeah.
So dang, so right after he got kicked out of that ecosystem, he just started developing this, right? So him and his team. But yeah, so going from there to 2020, of course, like, I mean, that's huge. And they did go through all the bumps and bruises of, having a really crappy UI UX with all these other projects trying to do stuff that like we see with runes or with BRC20s and order book type of situations, Alex or BTC or whatever, like, or Alex from Stacks. They tried to do it with BRC20. So they've been through all the rough times of trying to make what EVM what it is today. And so I think from that aspect, yes, there's a lot of people probably on crypto Twitter that are going to say, what are you talking about? But they're talking about their bags. They're more emotional about, like, Ethereum has not performed well from a price standpoint necessarily the past year and a half, but from a technical tech stack and technical standard, I feel like they have definitely succeeded beyond everybody's expectation, especially with the infrastructure. Like you just said, stable coins, everybody's going to an EVM tech stack. That's what they're using. I mean, you might find a couple people go to Solana for things, but it's mostly EVM.
Two of the biggest companies in the S&P 500 are creating EVM chains. That's Coinbase and Robinhood, right? So I mean, if you look at it that way, if you take a step back from looking at the price action and say, wow, Vitalik Buterin, from an idea he had while he was making color coins, from an idea that he had of these things called smart contracts, he was like, what can we create? And then reaching out to people like Charles Hockinson and Gavin Wood and the guys from Consensus and all that stuff, and getting this team together, and then them sitting around a table and saying, how can we make this possible to what it is today, is absolutely amazing. You cannot say these guys are like the Steve Jobs, like the Apple of crypto, right? I mean, for sure, these are the PayPal mafia of the internet, right? I mean, it's easy to say that group of people that built Ethereum, all 12 of the founders, are going to be in history books forever.
Yeah, I agree. It's really eerie how you said that, because it does remind me of the PayPal mafia a lot. There's big names that are associated with the birth of Ethereum that are doing their own things now. Now, there's a smaller group, I think, on the Bitcoin side, but they have their own projects for the most part. Adam Bax and stuff like that as well, that were in those early groups, the chat rooms and stuff. But like the Ethereum side definitely seems more of like these visionaries that were more business minded, more corporate minded style. Like, okay, I want to build something that's going to be useful on day one in terms of like something that is now looked at as infrastructure for these big brands that are coming over here. So, yeah, I agree with you in that aspect.
Yep. All right, let's get into the crypto fear and greed here. So last week we were at a 49. Last Friday, I don't even remember last Friday at this point. And then yesterday we were at a 54, or a tiny bit higher than yesterday. I don't feel 55 though.
56? Oh, 55. Okay.
Oh shit, I said it out loud.
Yeah.
I don't feel 55 though. So how do you feel about this? Do you feel like we are? I mean, let's like see the. I mean, look at this, dude. Red Merle is the only thing that's up. Shout out to Merle, my own green, and then got Nvidia up a little bit today. I think this is from yesterday though, because it stopped trading. And then we have gold up, DJI up. That's really it. But my whole chart basically, and Gizmo, shout out to Gizmo, is basically all red.
Yeah, I think 55 is definitely a yesterday evening fill out. Probably we didn't really start to come down until when was this? Well, yeah, no, the downtrend did start at 5 p.m. Eastern, so it was a couple hours of that. So it wasn't really like aggressive when that score came out. I guarantee if we keep on the same trajectory that we're seeing today, if we get to 106.5 or something, that number will come down.
100%. All right, let's get into the Bitcoin price action. But first, I got a video. You ready for it?
Oh, here we go.
So, I've been progressing heavily. This is like by far my best one yet. Dude, if I had unlimited uses, I'd be a freaking genius. Take a look at this. This is probably by far my best. Ready?
All right, here we go.
Yagobi's on the charts, drawing trend lines tight, tagging liquidation zones in the dead of night, spotting breakouts, setting targets high. He's free falling from the sky, charting his mind, plotting Bitcoin wicks mid-air, never confined, locking in liquidation zones before he deploys.
Wait, did you write the lyrics for that?
No, ChatGPT
did. Yeah, you are getting better, man. I can't.
I'll play it again. Ready?
Yagobi's on the charts, drawing trend lines tight, tagging liquidation zones in the dead of night, spotting breakouts, setting targets high. He's free falling from the sky, charting his mind, plotting Bitcoin wicks mid-air, never confined, locking in liquidation zones before he deploys.
I need more. I have another set of lyrics for the next one. I just ran out of.
Is that the same? Were you able to use the same guy for both clips?
Well, so what I do is, so the prompt for this is like giant, right? So it's like it tells exactly what the guy looks like. So I'm trying to get the same guy, but it's a little different every time.
Gotcha.
And that was my problem why I only have the 2 out of the 3, because the third guy didn't look like nothing like the original. So my prompt for this, dude, is if I showed you, it is giant, but it's an 8-second clip, but it's so detailed, and I'm just working with ChatGPT, kind of like polishing it up, and that's why I've been getting progressively better, because I'm just kind of going back and forth with it.
Are you feeling more confident with it?
Oh yeah, I feel like I'm getting. I feel like if I had another, like I only get 3 a day. If I had another like 2 videos, I would have had a full song. Like I have the whole thing written. I have another 2 clips to kind of go. But isn't it cool how like they kind of flow in each other? Like, he stops, and then it rhymes right with the next one.
Yeah, that's good, dude. You're doing good. I want to mess around with it this weekend and see.
It's fun.
Yeah, cool.
It's hard. It's not easy. You if you come at it with a little shitty prompt, it's going to give you a shitty video.
Gotcha.
But let's kind of get into that Bitcoin price action, brought to you guys by Artura.finance. Artura, they're bringing the game, guys. They are bringing the liquidation fun stuff that we all love from the centralized exchanges, right? But they're bringing that in the form of perp contracts to Botonix. They had just launched this week, and they are taking the internet by storm right now. I'm seeing a lot of people start posting about Botonix, but it does seem like Artura will be going live either next week or the week after. And by you guys using low leverage and low money on Artura.finance, you're going to be potentially getting Bitcoin from the Botonix. They're incentivizing their chain with Bitcoin. And then not only that, you'll be getting some ARA tokens from the Artura team as well. But they're not just launching on Botonix. They're going to be launching on Hemi as well. Hemi is backed by Binance. There's rumor that Hemi is going to be airdropping the Hemi token to people that use its chain. And there's another rumor that they might get listed on Binance pretty quickly after the TGE. So by you playing with Artura.finance on Hemi, you will be earning the Hemi token and potentially the ARA token as well. Definitely check out Artura.finance. Like I said, they're going to go live really soon, and we'll keep you guys all updated.
For sure. Excited about that launch and excited about the Spider Chain as well as Hemi Bitcoin Layer 2. I think there's going to be a Bitcoin Layer 2 kind of revival coming up here, you know, especially with Merlin Chain as well, kind of being in the news with the Kraken listing. So we'll see what happens with that. But guys, before getting to the Bitcoin price action, help us out as you always do on the YouTube side. Smash that like for us. Also, subscribe to the channel and turn your notifications on so you know when we go live. On the X side, let's share the space, guys. Let's get it going. Let's wake some people up, get them in here, try to educate them as much as possible. And then on the the abstract side, if you could help us share that link, we would greatly appreciate it as well. Let's jump into some price action here, starting with the hour chart. Actually, I want to start with some liquidation charts here. We were talking to Ace, which is a trader in the Artura community, gave me a couple websites to check out liquidation levels here. The first one is coinglass.com, and you can go to the futures liquidation heat map. It does default to the Binance Bitcoin, and you can see here where it shows that it's like yellow is going to be like the most concentration liquidation levels there, right? So you can see right here the price is sitting right here at 107,671. So as you go down here, it's kind of neon green here. There's $20.9 million worth of Bitcoin that is looking to get liquidated. Longs looking to get liquidated at the 106,846. So we might start to see this kind of dip down here and gravitate a bit closer to this. Grab some of these liquidations because they're right next to each other too. You can see 106,846. Then right below that, 763, 21 million. I mean, the liquidations don't really stop until you get to 106,350. On the upside, to liquidate the shorts, you're probably looking at like 23 million at 108,745. And so we're kind of in the middle, right? So we're going to see with a lot of these indicators showing sell pressure. I imagine they're going to try to dip down and grab these before they head back up, but we'll see what happens. So that is one chart there. And then another one that's really cool is called hyperdash.info. So this one's really cool, and it uses different data because the first one, like I said, was Binance. So this one, I got to figure out where they're getting this data from. But you can see there's some liquidation levels down here as well. The green is showing 330 Bitcoin, set to get long liquidations at 105,274. Oh my God, that's a pretty good size one there. I mean, it seems big because it's in Bitcoin, but yeah, you can see some of these smaller liquidation levels. Anyways, let's get back to the hour chart here. So those, so hyperdash.info and coinglass.com there is where you'll find those. Looking at the hour chart here, you can see that the sell pressure did look like it wanted to get exhausted. It looks like it wants to go and grab those liquidations levels at the 106.5, guys. I mean, it's what it seems like to me, because it could have exhausted and bounced back. And to his point about the jobs numbers, I didn't realize how much of kind of a negative sentiment it would bring. But like when you do go to Polymarket, which is truth, right? I feel like God is like saying this is what it is percentage wise. It did flip. I mean, you're talking about going to a positive like outlook for July's rate cuts possibilities, going to 69%, and then flipping back to 94% no. So we'll see what happens for the rest of this month. I'm still in that little hopeful, camp that says that, we do reach all-time highs this month. Whether that takes another, 2 weeks, we'll see. But anyways, the hour charts let me think that we're going to probably try to creep into the 106 areas to get, market makers trying to liquidate those levels there. There's a lot of money to be made there. Like the stochastics is matching up with the MACD here, sell pressure opening back up as well. So, next 4 to 6 hours, that's what I'm thinking, guys. That is what I'm thinking, so much that I've, taken a little bit of a position there. You can see here on the 4-hour chart, none of this financial information, advice, obviously, but I like to have a little fun as well. But anyways, the 4-hour chart. This is something that's giving us a little bit of confirmation. I'd like to see what the next candle gives us here on the MACD, but the first one is showing that it's starting to build up a little bit of strong sell pressure. You see the stochastics heading to the oversold territory here. This did open up to the upside, but it does take a long time because each candle's 4 hours, right? So this opened up. We haven't tightened yet. So if we do tighten here, and let's say there is a rebound, then I would feel okay thinking that this would jump back and forth. But I really want to see what the next 4 to 6 to 8 hours shows us on the previous chart, right? If we do continue this down, like we get another red candle on the MACD and we do have to continue this downtrend, then yeah, 106, maybe even 105 is on the table heading into the weekend. So that a little confirmation on the 4 hour of what we're seeing on the 1 hour there. Let's take a look at the daily. The daily, you know, has been looking pretty decent. We haven't really got consecutive green candles like this in a long time on the MACD chart. We did have a lot of sell down in between this set of green candles and this new one right here. So this doesn't mean that the buy pressure on the MACD is over, and also it doesn't mean that like everything's doom and gloom if we go back to 105. By the way, if we go back to 105, that's okay. It's kind of a reset in my opinion. We tapped 110 right the past couple of days. We didn't get to the previous all-time high, but we got kind of close, and then we pulled back, right? We got rejected at 108 several times this past week, and then got busted through that. The big beautiful bill was going to get passed and all these things, and then we thought we could get that rate cut that turned around, and so now we're kind of turning around here. So I think we get a hard reset maybe on Sunday. We'll see what happens. So the daily looks okay in my opinion. Let's just see you know, how the rest of today plays out heading into the weekend. And then the weekly, this should be the weekly as it's loading up here. I bet you it reset. Yep, to the 1 hour, of course. Let me just go here. All right, cool. Reset chart view, pull this back. I might need to get a new PC. I love my PC, but it has been a little bit slower lately. Okay, the weekly chart looks okay. You know, for a while, I thought we were going to completely come out of the buy pressure. I would say the past 3 weeks really made me feel that way, but we did last week. We had a good bounce back here. And again, you know, us, the camp that thinks that we do go to 120, 130 to finish this month or maybe a part of August, I was thinking we would start another leg here. So excuse me, we might still see that. Let's see what happens here the next couple weeks, because the rest of July is really important, because if it looks kind of choppy with a downtrend the rest of July, I might not feel confident that we're going to have that leg up in August. So let's see what happens there. So I think we're still okay with the setup here. Doesn't look horrible. We kind of bounced back here, but we need to keep that momentum going here on the weekly chart. Looking at the crypto bubbles. Crypto bubbles for the hour looks horrible. Let's look at the day. Looks horrible.
Ugh.
Let's look at the week. Looks horrible. No, week doesn't look that bad. All right, let's look at the day.
57% in a week? That's
Yeah,
crazy.
we actually had a really good week. Pengu had a really good week. But looking at the daily here in the top 100, everything's red. I don't like, just gonna point out a couple, like, you know, popular memes. SPX is down 8.1%. Pengu's the only shining star here, up 4.3%. You got Bonk up 1%. That's a little shocker there. Doge down 4.1%. So pretty much everything is like in trend with this pullback. Some utility here. Hyperliquid is down 5.2%. Near Protocol down 5.1%. You see Render down 3.9%. Chainlink down 4.1%. ICP down 3.8%. Arrow, which has been in the news a lot as they are a AMM servicer for Coinbase, is down 3.9%. And Ethereum is down 2.7%. Let's take a look at the top 200 here. All right.
Stop the red, bro. Stop the red.
Yeah, I wish I could. On the brighter note, Dog Army is only down 4.6%. I guess that's a positive, right? MOG is down 8.3%. Pith is down 6.1%. Pith is a competitor to Chainlink, if people are wondering what that is. Ape Chain down 5.1%, and Cato down 5.5%. And I think, that's gonna wrap it up here on this. I do want to check the sentiment of, you know, what's in the positive mindset here of people in the social bubbles. And taking a look here, Bitcoin is at the top. Okay, cool. We see Ripple USD, interesting. XRP there, top 3. Looking at some Bobo. Wow, Bobo. I think Bobo is isn't that Ethereum token? That was an Ethereum token. I think Polly might have like launched that. I don't know. I can't remember. But then you have Dog underneath it. Of course, Dog is always in the good sentiment. I've never, not once, seen Dog in the bad sentiment here. And so yeah, Dog Army, keep doing what you're doing. Fartcoin's up here as well. But yeah, at least we can see a little bit of positivity here. So
Yeah, launch coin over there in the negative area.
Yeah, they've been there for a while. It's like they're in the
Have they?
doghouse. Yeah.
Well, let's jump into the next segment here, which is roll call, guys. This is kind of where we go into your comments every single day. But we take that first comment, and today that first comment is Webdro. Congratulations to you, my friend. You have win number 29 on the year. Congratulations to you. Lackey Lukey is in first place with 33. You're at 29, and you might be asking yourself, how can I get on this list? Just be the first comment. We've been tracking him all the way since Mike Swirled won January 1st. And then every single day we track it. But we're going to be giving away a Bitcoin frog to whoever comes first place, and we're going to be giving away a second prize and a third prize as well, and potentially we might do something good for everyone on this list right here. So you definitely want to make this list if you can. I mean, Webdro and Lackey make it very hard for everyone else, but shout out to you guys, man. Webdro, that first place, Lackey Lukey right there. And then we have Mr. Hanky, the Christmas poo, jumping right in there. Elon Bean is here. Shout out to Elon Bean. Hydro Sapien every single day, brother. Really appreciate you. He says OGM, on-chain rev. And then we have Seek Eternal is here. It says Seek Alpha on-chain. Find Alpha watching on-chain revolution. Thank you so much, Seek Eternal. And then we have Greater Sats here. 2 days in a row, Greater Sats. Appreciate you, my friend. Rare Sat Ordinals is here, followed by 1+ at 99% in profit. I'm in the 1%. Oh man, would you buy it? 110? Oh, crazy. He said, I'll make the 99% feel better. Spindrift is here. Satoshi Nakamoto, Chip and Dip. Abstract says when alt season. Tuesday. It's always going to be, I don't know what Tuesday, but it'll be a Tuesday. Chips and Dip is here. Board when show. We're alive, my friend. Okay, I don't know what that is. And then Paulie says BTC top out in the second week of December around 234. I mean, we'll see. But will you get out? That's the problem. If we're ramping up to 234, I mean, I don't know if I've not.
But what would the pullback be? You think 110?
Well, there's been consistency of between 50 and 70% pullback.
Yeah.
So what is that? That'll be 110 at 50 and 90.
90, yeah.
Yeah. Tim Baker's here. Shout out to Tim Bake. Myself says happy July 4th. Yes, sir. Happy to you too. Superfan is here. GM, my guy. Appreciate you, my friend. Myself says it's crazy that Bitcoin isn't quantum resistant when it could be simple consensus agreed upon upgrade. Is that true? I don't know how true that is.
I mean, honestly, like the quantum attacks, I don't even know like how they would defend them, but I know that there's ways to do it. So yeah, I'd love to look into that further, because that's something that really gets me excited about the science behind it and stuff. So we'll see.
Yeah, 100%. Stan says all the projects have teams of devs. In the channel's opinion, was Satoshi a lone wolf? If so, why how did he create BTC solo while others can't? So Satoshi Nakamoto, in my opinion, is 3 people. It's Hal Finney, Nick Szabo, and Adam Back. And I say that for 3 different reasons. Like Hal Finney was the first person to receive the Bitcoin. The big rumor is it was Adam Back who created Hashcash, was the first proof of work system. Adam Back actually created proof of work, right? Which makes me think that he was one step away from Bitcoin, and it makes me feel like that he is things. So I think Bitcoin is between 3 and 7 people. Some people say that the guy Todd is one of the guys who are Satoshi Nakamoto. Satoshi Nakamoto isn't a solo wolf. Yeah, Peter Todd. He is probably between 3 and 7 people, in my opinion. Do you agree with that, or do you think it was one guy?
I mean, I don't know, man. Like, I would probably say it's probably. Well, the thing about it is, like, humans are very kind of like to have like credit, right? And so if there's more than one, I feel like it would leak somehow. You know what I mean? Somehow. But I don't know. There's probably been groups of people that have like taken things to the grave. So,
well, think about it this way: if they came out and said that they were social, or something got leaked, their lives are in danger, right? So it's not like they do want credit for it, but at the same time they're rich, right? They have the world by the balls. They all probably mined Bitcoin solo, right? They all probably have between 10,000 and 100,000 Bitcoin each, right? So I can't imagine that they would risk their lives for credit. I'm sure when they die, they're going to put out this big thing. It's going to be written probably on the Bitcoin blockchain, right? The day they die, and it's going to give them credit for their legacy. But I just don't feel like while being alive, they're going to risk their lives.
Makes sense.
Myself says, is it possible that old wallets are being compromised with quantum computers that the government owns? I mean, think about that, dude. I didn't think about that. What if the government has, walked in the apple, took the Willow chip or forked it, and they're the ones actually accumulating this Bitcoin that is being open today?
Maybe that definitely. I mean, the government would be one of the first entities that get access to it if they're not, or if they don't have the researchers working with these companies already, right? So.
Yeah, 100%. Chief Axel is here. Shout out to Chief Axel. Superfan says, Stan, I was introduced to Bitcoin in the first days. If dev had a dev community around it, I don't think Satoshi was ever a lone wolf, to be honest. It was interesting tech project that I forgot about back then. Really? That's crazy. Superfan was early day one guy, 2009, January 6, 2009. Wow. That's crazy. Thanks, Superfan. Is there a dev community? Why hasn't Satoshi been doxxed? It's because their lives would be at danger, and it would be by countries, right, that want to get into that million Bitcoin. And
plus, plus the value. A lot of times, whenever there's a founder, like if Vitalik came out and did something horrible, then it affects the price of Ethereum and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, so like when Charles Hoskinson comes out and goes on one of his crazy rants, like there's so much FUD, but like there's nothing to do for Bitcoin with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. It wouldn't be good for Bitcoin if they can't come forward.
Yeah, I agree.
think once they pass, I would love for them to come out with a big manifesto, right? I think that would be awesome.
Yeah, and Bitcoin would be so powerful by then, it wouldn't matter.
Well, even so, if they come out in a manifesto and say, "Hey, we burned the keys," right? Like I'm the last of the 7, and the keys are burnt.
Yeah, because at that point he wouldn't even affect it anyways, right? So
no. Dwayne says still pushing no utility assets. Dude, Dwayne's coming at us, bro. He said we push no utility assets.
What you want us to push? Like
we got Dwayne.
You got, buddy. Pith, chain link. Come on, tell us,
dude. And that's one thing, we don't push anything. We talk about we're bullish. If you guys take that as we're pushing something, that's messed up on your side.
Also, like, utility assets in our space has been, in my opinion, a myth, right? Like, yes, there's projects that have utility, but the assets themselves, Chainlink's token, you're not doing shit with it. You know what I mean? You're not maybe staking governance, but like, we'll see some crazy stuff here in the next, I think, like 4 years that with the big businesses and stuff coming in. So we'll see.
Myself says read Hijacking Bitcoin by Roger Ver, who is now locked up. So Roger Ver was late to Bitcoin on the sense of being one of the members of Satoshi. He got in Bitcoin in like 2010, 2011. He was known as Bitcoin Jesus because he would like go in and like have kids download wallets on their like Razor phones, and then he would send them like Bitcoin and like 1 Bitcoin each and stuff. But I mean, Roger Ver, he's Bitcoin Cash. I mean, it's Roger Ver. Stan says I attempted to bridge on Botonics with no success. Is it me or Botonic Bridge? So use layer 0. What is their thing called? I can't remember. It's almost out my head.
Stargate.
Use Stargate. You can bridge that way. You can bridge from Ethereum. You can bridge from anywhere now onto Botonics. That is the one that I would use because it is the most trusted, in my opinion. Layer 0 is the bridge. So go over to say it again.
Stargate.
Stargate.
I think it might be Stargate.io.
Stargate.finance is the website. Yeah, Stargate.finance. Myself says that group of people are indeed the banksters of the future. He's talking about the ETH guys. 100%. Manny says you guys make me feel old at 31. What did we say to make them feel old?
I don't know. I guess like, I don't know. Is our energy old or something? Is that what you're talking about? Goodness.
Myself said, what are you using to create those? I'm actually just using ChatGPT and pasting that into VO. So I'm making the prompts on ChatGPT and pasting me on Gemini, Google's thing. So I tried making the prompts on Google's. I hate Google Gemini. Like, I hate it. Like, to the comparison of ChatGPT, it's so much better. ChatGPT is. So And then we got Cash Cats entering the chat with the coffee and the donuts and the dog go to the moon. Shout out to Cash Cats. He said, hope everyone has a great 4th. Yeah, shout out to you, my friend. Superfan says, Stan, no clue. Some say he doesn't exist. Our modern Santa Claus. And yeah, Manny, 0116, easy to feel old in this space. Yeah, man. Superfan says, same to you, Cash Cats. Yeah, man. And then KDN is here. Shout out to KDN. Hydro Sapien says, Satoshi is DRPA, CIA group.
DERPA.
I mean, maybe. But why ain't the US using those million Bitcoin? And then OX, a metalhead, reposted the stream. Appreciate that, man. Appreciate every single one of you guys who make roll call each and every day. It means so much to us. And thank you all for being a part of our show today. All right. Let's kind of jump back into some news here. So where was I? Okay. All right, here we go. Bitcoin whales have dumped 500,000 Bitcoin worth 50 billion in the past 12 months. While institutions absorbed 900,000 Bitcoin, signaling a shift in the Bitcoin market going from long-term whales to potentially long-term TradFi holders. How do you feel about this?
I kind of like it because TradFi holders, they're pretty good at holding really blue chip stocks, right? They're the ones that like held NVIDIA.
Amazon, Google,
NVIDIA. Exactly. So when they see something they believe in, they I mean, and to be fair, Bitcoin maxis whenever they did like get into that belief system, and TradFi holders, they sell too. They take profits after a couple of years. So I like it. I think it's a good transition. It's much better than just someone that's coming in, mortgage their house, and then looking to dump it the next season.
Yeah, 100%. Speaking of long-term holders, Marathon Digital now holds 50,000 Bitcoin worth $5.4 billion. They're the second largest public holder after MicroStrategy. It didn't sell any June mined coins, doubling down on its HODL treasury. So Marathon has not sold any Bitcoin in the last 18 months. They've been adding, but they've been selling down stock and buying Bitcoin. So in the previous cycles, bull markets were always kind of like pushed down because the miners would start selling towards the top. You would, if you followed the miners selling, you could have predicted the 2020 top of May. You couldn't have predicted the August one because that everyone says that it was highly manipulated, but they started selling down in May and we're almost all out of Bitcoin by August when the actual top went through. And then in 2017, in January of 2018, most of the miners were already sold out of all the Bitcoin. So you can kind of get an idea of when, the miners say the top is, because they kind of controlled it for at least the last two. But it feels different this time, especially now that Marathon is actually buying Bitcoin this entire bull run.
Yeah, I mean, they probably don't even have to put too much pressure on their stock because they mine it as well, right? So it's actually a really good model of kind of hybrid acquiring through leveraging your stock as well as just keeping all the mined Bitcoin, right? Obviously, they have like a certain percentage they have to pay their expenses with, but the strategy is what's important here. And they're using a hybrid blueprint of what MicroStrategy is doing, but they have the benefit of being a miner, a major miner.
Yeah.
So,
and these mining companies, like mining isn't their whole business anymore. So Marathon Digital, they're creating, like they're like holding Bitcoin for other companies. They're doing a lot of different things to make money, so they don't have to sell down the Bitcoin either. They actually have bringing in business people to actually build and leverage their Bitcoin in ways as well. So we'll see what they become, but people are predicting a Marathon and the other bigger miners to become more than just miners in the future.
I mean, it makes sense, right? They were able to make all this Bitcoin through mining, and now they have the capital to be able to, venture into different streams of business revenue to where they don't necessarily have to sell down their Bitcoin all the time, right? So it makes sense. It's like that, taking that Tether approach. But obviously with the Bitcoin mining company, so they have the ability to do so, and I think we'll see, like you said, other mining companies follow suit.
Yeah, 100%. A solo miner using a potential what is that, the Apple Pie or whatever it's called, mined a Bitcoin block, earning
Raspberry Pi.
3.173 Raspberry Pi worth nearly $350,000. So a lot of people they want to feel like they're running the Bitcoin core, right? So what they'll do, they'll go buy a Raspberry Pi miner. It's the least amount of hash possible to be mining, right? And they put it online, and they never really think about it ever actually hitting, right? So you can do when you're mining Bitcoin, you have two options. You can solo mine it, which means you're one little guy is out there trying to solve it faster than all the other ones, or you could join a pool. Joining a pool is when you put your hash power with a whole bunch of other ones, and every time that pool wins, you get a tiny piece, depending on your hash power that you're providing. You get that in proportion to winning that block. So if you are 0.001% of the hash power, you get 0.001% of the Bitcoin reward, which is in this case 3.173. But if you solo mine, you have almost a 0.000% chance of winning, but there's still a shot. And you see a couple times a year solo miners actually hit.
I feel like we've heard about this more frequently than normal. The past,
it's like three times a year.
Yeah, but the last one was probably 2 months ago, I think, though.
Yeah, it was in March.
So that's pretty close together. But yeah, I mean the percentages are the percentages, right? So you might get two close together and then not one for a very long time. But hey, kudos to this guy, 350 grand. Good job buying that. Getting that set up with that Raspberry Pi and all that stuff. Cash Cat says, Raspberry Pi, hope his BitAxe grabs a block. Yeah, I'm rooting for you, brother. Yeah. That'd be huge.
Imagine that, dude. Like, and I'm sure this guy doesn't even he won't even realize he won, right? He'll probably like come back at like 6 months after it's in there and just check that wallet randomly and be like, "What the fuck did I get 3.1?"
Dude, what a good, that's like the best like birthday Christmas. I was like, skip my birthday this year. I just got 350K off of this. And it's kind of cool that kind of the fundamentals of part of the mining system or whatever, right? And you end up hitting one, so that's huge.
At the end of the day, you only need one Raspberry Pi, one BitAxe to kind of keep the network running. So if the entire world got wiped out for whatever reason, as long as one Raspberry Pi or one BitAxe was still running, Bitcoin the blocks would still go.
Yeah.
Right. So you just need one of them. And that's what kind of people do it for. They don't do it to solo mine. I mean, yeah, it's a lottery ticket, right? And it'd be cool if it ever hit. But a lot of them do it just to be a part of the system.
Yeah. What's the actual percentage though?
It's 4 to 5 zeros and a 1.
Oh my god. Yeah. That's
it's
so
like
crazy.
0.0001 is your shot of winning. Because if that's how much hash, in order to get your number, you just got to put how much hash power that you're putting in. And you can see that from running Bitcoin Core and then seeing the amount of hash power and just dividing the two. And then you'll see that you have a 99.99998% chance of losing.
But I feel like that doesn't equate, right? Because like how many blocks are mined a year?
Well, there's 6 blocks an hour on average. Right.
Got
so and then 24 hours. So what's that? 24 times 6, and that's each day. Right, and then you just take that by 350, what is it, 354, right? So that's how many blocks are mined a year. And then, so I don't know, pretty cool. NASDAQ listed Nano Labs, bought 50 million worth of BNB tokens, expanding its digital asset reserve to 160 million. So this company, first time last week, they bought $110 million worth of BNB. This week, they bought some more. So this is a Chinese company listed on the NASDAQ, and they provide the chips to the people who make the miners. And but they are buying BNB, which is nuts. But I thought it was a one-off thing, and no, they're planning on buying a few times a month. Pretty nuts.
Is that the Chinese company?
Yeah, they make the chips for the mining machines.
Gotcha. Yeah. We talked about this I think like a week ago too, because this is their second buy, right?
Yeah, second buy. Yeah.
Yeah. So BNB, man, they are the token of the East. I feel like, right? There's some other tokens over there. Obviously, like Tron has a big presence in that area too, but not shocked because they're representing kind of like the strength of the East, in my opinion. There's kind of like this business relationship between, I'll call them World Liberty Fi and them, right, as well as with Tron. But not shocked is what I'm saying. I'm not shocked that we'll
Yeah.
probably see. I think we'll start to see some other companies start to pick BNB up as well. I mean, I look at BNB as a strong token, even though they might not, be your typical like blue chip, but they have a lot of strength behind them. I mean, Binance, and I don't know. Well, how do you view them?
Well, I think our image of BNB is skewed because one, we're not allowed to use like Binance, right? We've never really been able to use that exchange as our main exchange. We've always kind of been forced to use Coinbase and what we have here. And I do believe if we were outside the United States and we asked somebody what the top tokens were, I think BNB would be one. I think they would say Bitcoin, Ethereum, BNB. But I think because we're in America and we're so like Americanized, I feel like we're taught to not like BNB, or BNB is kind of evil, right? Because that's kind of how we've always been taught about the Chinese until you actually meet some people from there and you're like, wow, this is kind of messed up. Like that, the schools and stuff like that would kind of put us against each other, right? And I feel like it's kind of like BNB is that.
Yeah, well, and they're also, I mean, analytics is a big thing with me, and they're number 5, right? If you're looking at market cap too, so can't deny numbers.
No, 100% math does not lie for sure. It's funny you just mentioned WLFI because that's the next thing here. Proposal to make Trump-backed WLFI tradable is now live. So these tokens they're in everyone's wallet. So if you did participate in the the token launch, you did receive them, but they haven't had any liquidity anywhere. So they're not tradable. So there's a proposal for the company WLFI to make these tradable by adding liquidity to the pools, and the first pool they're going to add liquidity to, if they do, is PancakeSwap. What do you think about this? I think they're going to vote yes. I'm curious your opinion on that. And if so, do you think it's going to be one of the top traded tokens?
It could be, just because I think a lot of people that did get into it, it was an exclusive group, and there was probably,
you had a KYC.
Yeah, so there's a lot of TradFi style people, I think, in there. And they probably, if once it opens up to maybe some of those same style of people that didn't get into that first group, they'll probably start to trade it. I think. I imagine.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's a lot of people that want to hold this that didn't want a KYC. Will now have an opportunity to hold this. I actually would like to hold this. Honestly, like you talk about like potentially buying the crypto ETFs with Solana and stuff like that. I would actually hold WLFI on chain and potentially have a staking mechanism with that as well to actually earn more WLFI, because it's only like 40% of the supply is given to holders. I think WLFI is probably the ultimate
early like an early thing you can get into. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the whole idea. Like, I think a lot of people were thinking is that they'll probably come up with an index fund of all their holdings and some sort of offering that way. It's gonna be interesting how we view those type of products in our space. We're not used to that. You know what I mean? We're used to, like this token's super strong. They provide, like, they're an AMM on the biggest chain or something like that. That's utility for us. But now this kind of RWA TradFi approach to and I know myself's probably like throwing up right now because he doesn't like the bankers and stuff, and I get it. But with that being said, there's going to be opportunity, and I think that, like, WLFI is one of those opportunities. We'll see, though, because there is a little bit of like this kind of like invisible stain that, like, with how the Trump entity came in, and whether that was them or not, and they sold the likeness, it still happened. But I will say the Trump token itself, the meme token, it's still holding that market cap. There was 500 millionaires made, so I think that we can get over that. Just no more of that crap, right? No Melania, no all these other craps. Like, be done with that. Stay more professional here.
Well, think about this. We do know that WLFI, they're moving around a lot, right? They're taking some of the tokens, and Barron Trump is putting them into earning yield and stuff like that. What if at the end of the year, or once they just do an airdrop to stakers of the money that they've made, right?
That'd be awesome.
That would be very sought after, because now you can buy these tokens, stake them with the team, and just like every year, once a year or once a month or whatever, you get a nice fat airdrop from the money that they've made by taking the funds that were earned from the pre-sale, right? Because they're using those funds to buy Ethereum, to buy Tron, Barron Trump is using that money to stake and stuff like that. So that would be pretty cool that you are part of the team there and you get a part of the profit that from their trading. but you will have to deal with potential no gain some months when they go negative, right? Because we will have areas in time where, you know, they don't make no money that year or something like that. So, or the token price would drop for that reason, right? Because if you're looking on the books and you're like, oh, well, they're not going to pay out this year because they haven't made any money. Could be a good sell down. Or if you look at the books and say, oh, wow, they're making money. Let me buy this and stake it so I can earn some of that profit. Really interesting. You're probably going to see a lot of these type of companies pop up.
So this question to you, I have it's kind of in the same topic, but it's a little bit off a little bit. I'm curious because of the whole TradFi coming over here. So we know that they were able to hide a lot of their boo-boos or mess ups because they have like the person above them that's associated in a business relationship, whether that's Citadel and Ken Griffin came to the rescue before, right? But you know, like they can't really do that here. So I feel like, you know, and when there's a financial collapse, there's always an opportunity as long as that system is still in place. I feel like in the next like 4 years, there could be like an actual like TradFi company that really messes up, but it's on chain. So they're going to be called out like quickly, you know, unless they're able to hide it, which I wouldn't be shocked if they're trying to figure out a way to do something like I'm talking about like on a centralized chain or something, right?
Yeah.
But with that being said, like I just heard about this. It's something that was hidden outside of the Citadel thing from the GameStop thing. There's this Asian guy, I forgot his name, but he was associated with Credit Suisse, and he took a huge position on GameStop. I think because maybe after he realized that, you know, going up was going to go up, and once it reversed, like Credit Suisse had to buy his bags, and it was kind of a really big problem for them. That kind of stuff we'll know. Because you got people like Marty Party, you know what I mean, that are like constantly like on-chain sleuths and stuff. So do you see that as like the big like black swan that happens in the next 48 years?
So this is why we're seeing JP Morgan want to have their own chain, why Robinhood wants to have their own chain, while all these companies want to have their own chain. There's only one reason for that: potential rollbacks, right? Roll back the chain, right? So you're going to see chain rollbacks are going to be a thing that's going to be normal in the next 20 years. For us now, it's like, what? No, what are they doing? But this is why, you know, Robinhood wants to maybe use Arbitrum, because Arbitrum takes 7 days to finalize on Ethereum. So they'll have 7 days to fix a mistake that happens on chain with the chain rollback or some kind of thing. That is why they want to be L2s, because they don't want to finalize if they don't have to, right away. And I think that is going to be something we see on a potentially a few times a year. Has the Robinhood chain rolled back 2 days because of a hack or this happened? You know, I think we're going to see more and more of that. Ethereum actually proved that works. So what happens is you just fork the chain. Your miners will run the fork that you choose them to run it set to a block height in the past, and the other chain just kind of goes. All those tokens on that chain go to zero. Right. So while the new chain, you get basically, if you have one asset on one chain, you get the fork, you get the exact same number of assets on the other, depending on where that rollback took place. So whatever you had at that block height, you receive again. So I think you're going to see, and I think this is why you're going to see a lot of companies have their own chain because they'll have the power to do this.
And they've all gone over the scenario I just talked about like 1,000 times, because they're like, this is why we don't want to go into this. This is why we don't want to do this. So if they make it on, they have like probably like 3 kill switches or something, you know what I mean? Or fail safes or whatever. So,
but that's why, like, you know, WLFI to me is so huge, is because they're not choosing to do this on a chain. If this happens on BNB, they're screwed. They're not rolling back BNB. They do this on Ethereum, they're screwed. They're not rolling back Ethereum. Right? It's not going to happen unless you get 51% of the Ethereum staked, and then you can do whatever the hell you want. This is why BlackRock wants to hold 51%, because if ever a big hack, they don't have to go and you know, lobby to the Ethereum stakers and say, hey guys, we need to do this. No, they can make the change right there because they own 51%. So centralization's coming.
There's one layer one though that you can maybe get away with it, and it's
Solana.
That's why they chose
that's why they all want their chains like Solana, right? Because you can pause it whenever you want, right? And that's what we're gonna see.
You just pissed off all the soul people. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, they deserve to be pissed off, right? So I'm just kidding. IMF rejects Pakistan's proposal to use surplus electricity for subsidized Bitcoin mining. Let me ask you this: if you're a bank who does your mortgage, right? They came to you and say, Yagobi, we don't like that you're running your refrigerator in the garage. You can only have one refrigerator on. We don't like that you have two refrigerators. You got to turn one of them off. Are you going to listen to them? Are you like,
I'll say,
like you just gave me a loan. Like
I'll say thank you for your services. I'm gonna refinance my mortgage.
But the IMF saying this to Pakistan here is it's ridiculous. These people think that they have the balls to tell a country that you loan money to what to do. It's total bullshit.
It's BS, but they've had that power for so long. You know what I mean? Like, imagine like whenever Greece went bankrupt, right? They knew that they could get away with kind of bullying Greece and getting what they wanted with like the new bailout stipulations and all that stuff. Same thing. The first country to really be able to kind of roll their sleeves up and be like, you don't like it, get the F out, was El Salvador, and it was because El Salvador had leverage in the fact that they had a successful approach at making Bitcoin what was it called legal tender, right? And so it was more of the energy of that it brought. Like when I say energy, I mean like the positive sentiment that El Salvador got, and other countries looking over them like, oh my god, their country has changed. It's gone from like night to day, and IMF didn't like that, so but I hope that they lose control, lose power more and more. But like I think like a country like Pakistan is probably still in a position to where they can get bullied a little bit here.
Yeah, they're smaller. They need the money. They need future loans as well. Like 100%. But eventually, the countries that are mining the Bitcoin today are going to be so rich and probably the new superpowers of the world that they don't even need these loans anymore. They tell IMF to, here's your money back, go F off. And I think El Salvador is going to be that in the next 10, 20, 30 years. But let's kind of get in some comments here. I just don't want to skip out on these comments. So let me go back to, you read this one already, Raspberry Pi. Hope my BitX grabs a block. It's definitely possible now. Myself says, nobody likes Roger Ver and Bitcoin Cash is bad. I get it. But I was around to see the charade during the fork 2. The government can make anyone look bad who opposes that. Yeah, but, Roger Ver is Roger Ver. Hydrosapian says BitX is in the mail. Yeah, man, that's awesome. Supervan says my solo mining rigs haven't won the lottery yet. Keep at it. I wonder, Supervan, do you check
how many years?
Like well, you won how many years? And like when you see these news, you run to that wallet and check to see if you won. Like, you know what I mean?
Like it's a 0% chance whenever you see a headline like this, but
it could have been me, right? It's like not checking your lottery ticket, right? Like I don't know, shot of winning, but you still check it, right? You still check that lottery ticket. Cash Cat says such a cool little miner. Yeah, man. Ronin Vagabond is here. Love the show, guys. Keep up. Yeah, 100%, man. Thank you so much for hopping in. Really appreciate
the
comment.
name.
It really means a lot. I do. Ronin Vagabond. And this is probably the type of people who listen to the show while they're at work and never have an opportunity to post. And then you get a day like July 4th where you're off and you're able to come in here and leave a comment, and really appreciate all the comments here. Myself says, I think CZ making BNB and Binance Smart Chain was the best move they could. Yes, because they have access to funds and stuff that they didn't have at one point. Myself says, whoever rolls back their chain is scum. Well, say that to, Ethereum, right? But I mean, it's going to happen. That is why Robinhood is creating their own chain. That is why Coinbase has their own chain, right? Because if anything does happen, they want to make sure that they're in control. And then JP Morgan's making their own chain. You're going to see every single big company have their own chain because they want to be able to do rollbacks if a hack happens and stuff like that. That's my opinion. Myself says rolling back chains is like erasing history. I agree, dude.
It is.
I agree, but it's centralization at the end of the day. Stan says, I'm surprised the BRIC countries haven't sucked up BTC yet. I mean, China. They are, right? China, Brazil, 2. Right? Yeah. I mean, they are, Stan.
They're just not in the news too much about it. That's the thing.
Yeah, 100%. Before we get to our next segment, I just want to run I got one more banner here that I really want to get into. So I've been looking at Dotswap liquidity almost every day, just kind of checking stuff out here. So right now we have about 25 Bitcoin worth of TVL. That is about $2.75 million. Obviously, Dotswap has their token and their Bitcoin in here. So kind of disregarding the 6.7. So still, about still a really good amount
19.
of, about 19 Bitcoin. Dog, obviously, number one. BTC USD Starknet number 2 with about 3 in there. But we have some newer ones in here that I wasn't expecting. Lobo the Wolf Pup now has about $16,000. It's growing. So I looked at it this morning, it was at 10,000, and now it's at 16. So people are adding Lobo in here for the first time. We do know that Fluid's going to be adding their stuff's going live here. We're gonna get to them after Adam. Later after the show, after that for Fluid Friday as well. But without further ado, let's bring in. I'll get your opinion on this first before I do that.
Yeah, so not shocked because of the attention that they've gotten from Kraken, and then look, I guess the community manager from Kraken's almost given like the Lobo like I want to say like a 90% listing possibility. He didn't put those numbers in there, but someone asked him about it, and he said something about like the community's energy is really good, so more than likely yes. And so to me, that's just so shocking to me. There's got to be some sort of like connect or something there. Lobo came out of left field
I know
the past 2 days, right? No hate to that community, but I'm just saying there's other communities that have been a little bit more vocal the past 6 months than Lobo.
No, 100%. And like to your point, nobody was talking about Lobo last week. Nobody was talking about 2 weeks ago about Lobo. It was always Gizmo, Billy, Dog, Mim, and Pups, right? That was the only ones that people were talking about.
Bro Bear was talked more about than Lobo was.
But the only difference is Lobo is backed by VCs, right?
They got
Lobo
money.
is
They got
the
money,
Buoyant Capital token. The Buoyant Capital apparently has 20% of this token for the rumors that I'm hearing, right? So, but it does seem like somebody's coming in here, adding liquidity. And if you go to Magic Eden, I mean, right now, Lobo is they're flying up here, man. The in liquidity. Well, even so, I mean, they're 14 million, dude. Like, it's insane.
Whoa, that's dude. They were like 11 this morning.
Let's go to market cap. Let's exclude Fayu. So Mim is at 31, Liquidium's at 20, Pups is at 15, and Lobo's now it's at 12.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what just happened in my little reset there, but now I guess price might drop a little bit, but sitting at 12.5 million, ahead of Billy now. It actually passed Billy in market cap.
So you know why I think that they're looking at Lobo, right? Is the holder count?
I don't know. Holder count, yeah, 54,000.
The holder count. I think the holder count, because like it's the second largest rune holder count that I would say is kind of legitimately similar to the airdrop of the runestone. I don't count RuneCoin, and sorry for the RuneCoin people, I just don't.
So, no, I agree. Yeah, man. All right, let's kind of get into our next segment here. So every Friday, we are lucky enough to be able to have our good friends over at Emblem Vault on, and today we are switching it up. The last 3 weeks we had Jake, and today we have Adam McBride joining us. So real quick, Emblem Vault, they just did something really cool. They have Agent Hustle, right? And in the beginning, they had like a test token with Agent Hustle called TNSR, and recently they did this migration period. It's still going live for about 14 days, and we're gonna get into this in depth. But you were able to take your TNSR and actually now get the official Hustle token. About 53%, 54% of the supply has been migrated already, and it's looking like it's slowed down drastically. So that's really awesome to see that happen. So what they're doing is there is about billions of dollars in Solana locked up in these liquidity pools on Pump Fund, that they've created a tool to kind of go in there and potentially pull all that Solana out. So really, really awesome, and really awesome to talk to Adam today. So let's bring him up. Adam, welcome back to OnChain Revolution, sir.
Bro, I'm pulling for Billy because my man Bongo's got to get a win at some point, bro. At some point, Bongo's got to win.
Yeah, it seems like lately he's been a little bit down only. No, just mess around. Well, I didn't know there was billions of dollars locked up in those LPs. I knew there was a lot.
It's nuts. It's
wow.
Nuts. And yeah, I think for a lot of teams, certainly a lot of teams who've launched on you guys probably haven't really tracked it, but there's been a couple of launchpad style apps that have launched like Believe, where these were supposed to be for teams, and this was going to be internet capital markets, kind of ICOs 2.0. And what they quickly realized was, bro, if people stop trading this, the liquidity is just locked there. And I've had a bunch of discussions just since we launched a couple days ago with teams who have $1 million, $2 million locked in the liquidity pool. The liquidity pool is so thick and fat that basically the price doesn't move. and they're like stuck. It's like, what are we doing? Why are we doing this? The team doesn't have access to it. The price can't move because the liquidity pool is so thick, and it's just, you have basically whole swaths of their kind of holder count isn't even active anymore. And so yeah, this provides a really, really exciting opportunity for teams who want to migrate. And I'm not going to name names, but I'm in conversations with a couple of CTO meme coin as well, that, you know, over the past year, you would know them. And it's like, what are we doing here? We could do something exciting. We can migrate the token to a new token, get all this liquidity back. We can even distribute the liquidity to the new holders. We can distribute all these extra tokens to the actual holders, the people who are still involved in the community. It could be a massive win for the community. And we basically start fresh chart, lighter liquidity, which allows the price to move more. And it could just be a really exciting opportunity. So yeah.
Well, and also I think the ICM meta was very interesting, but if you think about it, the flywheel that they talk about there, where the company that launches the token gets 1%, they can actually have their own flywheel, right? With the LP itself, right?
Totally.
So that flywheel is almost kind of like a bait and switch a little bit.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I mean, a lot of those, like the pump fund, you know, liquidity pool, like that money all goes to pump fund, right? It's like, and I know pump fund is like trickling out a little bit now. Like, if you launch now, but what about the ones on a year ago, right? Where these are big communities, right? And they're getting none of that, zero. It's literally a goose egg. And some of them have millions of dollars locked in that liquidity pool. And so just to give everybody kind of a brief idea, if you get 30% of your people, of your tokens to move over, at the end of that migration, you know, and we did 2 weeks. I was like, Jake, let's do 24 hours. But anyway, we did 2 weeks. But at the end of that 2 weeks, say you get 30% of your community to move over. That 30% of tokens, usually 300 million tokens, is sold into the liquidity pool. Bro, you basically access 80% of that liquidity pool is now yours. And so if it's the team, it's the teams, and they can use some of that to fund the new liquidity pool. You can distribute it to the people who migrated. There's all sorts of incredible stuff you can do, but you're basically unlocking that liquidity pool without just straight selling the token, which these teams don't want to do. They want to continue their project in a new way. And so I think it's really exciting opportunity for some of these teams.
Yeah, absolutely. And for the audience, to give you guys a little bit more context here, we're talking about, like, if anybody might be a project founder out there on Solana that launched on Pump Fund or the Believe Launchpad, that liquidity that is locked in there, Emblem Vault has created Migrate.fund. Connect with them if you are looking to get control of your project again in terms of the tokenomics, because that's the main reason they created this and realized, hey, this is a major pain point in the Solana ecosystem. Let's help out these builders. Is that kind of how it came across?
It's literally, we built this for ourselves because we were going to do it for ourselves.
Yeah.
And once we built it, now, you know, we've been in talks with Radium. They're very familiar with lots of teams that launched on Believe and stuff. They were like, oh my God, we need this. And the teams, it's funny because one of the team founders of an AI project was like, man, I was dreading having to build this, but I was going to build it for myself anyway. And now we'll just use you guys because I didn't feel like taking the month to try and build this thing out. Right. And obviously we spent a lot of time building this project out. We're going to basically have we're shooting for around 10 teams at the end of July to basically do our first cohort. And we're like going to hand walk everybody through it. The idea though, is that we're probably the first couple cohorts will hand walk teams through it. But the idea would be that we'll have a platform where people can go and just do it themselves. Because it's an automated process. The liquidity pool, the tokens, it's all automated through smart contracts. But the idea is that people will just be able to do this on their own. So teams that want to do it on their own will just be able to do it. But we're hand walking everybody through it the first time for sure.
Yeah, this is really awesome too, because like let's just say like you were a project out there and like you basically just did a pump fund just because you just did it, right? You're just like, I want to see how this goes. This is a shot in the dark. I have this product, I just launch a coin, and then you get stuck with that coin, like you said, you get stuck with the everything that comes with that. You stuck with like a little percent of the supply. So when investors come to you, you're like, I don't even know what to give you. I can't.
Bro,
I got to go to the market by myself.
There were some devs. I'm not going to name names, but there were devs who basically got, I would say, tricked into adopting a coin. Like there were ones that, and they got huge, where basically, smart people were like, oh, we launched the coin. Here's, 1%. And then that became the coin for these projects. And these guys were basically screwed, They got dumped on. I mean, it wasn't even them. They didn't even sell any tokens, but the guys who launched the tokens made literally millions of dollars. And the project founders, who are real people, who are actually like active builders, are like, dude, this is like, why am I burdened with this thing? And like a normal, I mean, we've had people like, you should just drop the Tensor token, just drop it all together, start a fresh token, and a lot of teams were debating that. This is a way that doesn't completely wreck their community, right? So the community, the people who are still there, can migrate over, take part in the new one. They get 1-for-1 trading of their tokens, right? So if they had one old Tensor, they get one new hustle, right? And with these new communities, so you're getting a 1-for-1 swap, but then the team is getting, the people who don't migrate, those extra tokens, the team gets those. So it's like you have, a new start, if you will.
Yeah.
So obviously it's a win for teams.
And this is nothing brand new, right? This is actually celebrated. I mean, you had Sonic do this recently with Phantom, right? Phantom was the same thing. Phantom was started by a bunch of scumbags who dumped the token. Then you had Andre Kanje come in and Michael Kahn come in and basically CTO the project Phantom. And now, over the last, I want to say the last 12 months, you had them migrate from Phantom to Sonic, brand new token. It feels like a brand new project. It's exactly what you guys just did.
Yeah. And I think to that effect too, it creates new life, right?
It does.
Some of these tokens, I mean, it's crazy to look at. I'm looking at these charts. I'm like, Jesus, these guys have a $7 million market cap, but there's no trading. Like, it's like almost dead, right? So this gives it like obviously we're going to do a ton of outreach, marketing. This first cohort is going to be huge because it's kind of network effect. It's going to be 10 teams all talking about it. So I think it's going to give a nice, second wind to some of these tokens.
I like that you guys are calling it cohort, because that tells me that there's already interest in multiple teams to do this. And first cohort, by the way. So you guys are planning for a second and third, which is
no. Yeah, this is. I mean, there's a lot of teams that need this. Obviously, I mean, literally, it's some crazy. I want to say it's like $4 or $5 billion. Is locked in.
I can't believe that, man. It's so great. And it makes you think too, like, because like Elon and Pump Fund, it was making like all that stuff from the LPs. It's like, did they kind of like choose the winners from Pump Fund and then like drive that volume to those? Because you can't have all of them be winners. That's right. Even though they win through all of them. They win. They get the LPs.
Heads you win, tails I lose. What is it? No, heads. It's like you win no matter what, right? And obviously those guys are brilliant. What they've done is brilliant. And no shade on them. Like, I have no problem with what Pump Fund did, but the way these things work. And crypto is really the ultimate free market, where if you're taking too much off the top, people will figure out ways to bypass that. And we saw it last cycle with OpenSea. OpenSea got their lunch handed to them. I think, Radium, who's been very supportive of what we're building here, sees where this is going. Where, holy cow, there's all this Solana locked. This is a way to unlock it. You're still going to have liquidity pools, right? But those liquidity pools, who's going to own those liquidity pools? Who's going to benefit from them? And Radium sees it and is like, well, we might make less, but it's more than zero, because we're making a zero on them right now, right? Yeah. So we can make maybe less, but we can encourage this activity. Teams are reinvigorated. Obviously, it's going to bring a lot of value to a lot of new people. Take value away from the old people. It's going to take value away from, Pump Fund, because they were making all the liquidity fees before. It's going to be taken away from them. And I'm sure they'll answer, and there'll be this battle back and forth, right?
Yeah.
about migration, and migration hopefully becomes like a thing. And we can battle it out in the free market, you know? And so for us, it's just, you know, being kind of first and moving fast and trying to get people on board and make the experience as seamless and easy as possible. And I appreciate you guys making that, you know, how to, and you guys know it's literally like 2 buttons.
So easy.
So easy.
So easy. That was the easiest how-to that we ever created, dude. Honestly, every time we do a tutorial, like there's always something that comes up. It's not about the builders necessarily. It's about us two learning but this one, I'm telling you, I was like, talking to Shizzy pre-show, was like, you know, typical tutorial, maybe like 20, 30 minutes. He's like, yeah, probably. We get in there. It's like 8 minutes in and we're like done. We're like, okay, well, let's just kind of.
We had a talk for like 5 minutes just to make the video like longer.
I was like, because I made a how-to as well. At the start, I was like, you know, I really don't need to make this how-to.
Yeah.
I remember I watched yours before we made ours.
Yeah, that's the best part about when something is actually, from a user perspective, is actually right, is that you don't need a how-to. It's literally self-explanatory. And I think, you know, our devs did a great job. Shout out to Bunzi, who built that front end as well.
Bunzi.
Yeah, it was smooth as butter, man.
Yeah.
But bro, that's like, to make smooth, and this is what people who don't like build in the space know. To make that was so fucking hard, dude. Like I can't express. It was not like, oh, this is so easy. No, dude, that was like months, you know, 2 months basically of work to build that.
It's funny though, because like Emblem Vault, you know, when I think of Emblem Vault, I think of, you know, jumping my NFTs from chain to chain, and then you guys came out with Hustle, and it's like, if you guys didn't make the mistake, well, I don't know if it's a mistake, if you guys didn't make the decision to use Pump Fund, you would have never had this third part of your business.
Right, man. Yeah. You never, I mean, I've told Jake the story of like the guys who built like Slack, right? Slack was a gaming company. These guys, I don't know if you guys know about this, but they were a gaming studio, right? And they were running out of runway. They had like 2 months of runway left. And the CEO of the team got everybody in a room and said, hey guys, we're closing shop. We have 2 months and we'll be done. And we need to think of something. And it's not a freaking game. What do we have? What can we build in the next month to try and build something that will make
Sounds
money?
like Web3.
Bro. And they literally they pivoted. They were like, well, we have this internal messaging system. And that internal messaging system became Slack. Wow. So, you know, I've told that story because it's so relevant. I also tell the story of, in my own DMs, I have DMs from the guys who built Virtuals. And I have DMs from 2020 where they did an NFT project, and 2023 when they did a DAO, and, you know, whatever. And then I have the one from Virtuals. And it was like, they pivoted, didn't work. And then they had a monster, right? And for us here, this is like business 101. This is like entrepreneurial stuff 101, where you have a problem, fix your problem. And that's literally what we built. And, you know, obviously the market already is like, yes, we need this. Let's do this. You know, I think we had to do ours first through the door, you know, Hustle's first through the door, where we'll work out the kinks. But yeah, we'll see. But, you know, knock on wood, there's certainly been a lot of teams who are interested in this product, no doubt.
Yeah, man. It's exciting too, because like the Hustle token itself just looks cool now, right? I mean, you guys went from TNSR with, I don't know what this guy was, but now, but now we have, you know, we have Hustle with the, you know, it just looks cool. He has the Mon glasses on, right? And it's now the identity of Hustle. Like this really isn't the identity of Hustle, but this is. Yeah, so it's a nice change of pace. It's a nice change of you know, it's a refresh. It's refreshing the brand, right? It's something that the big companies do over and over and over. They refresh the brand, and it is awesome that you're able to do that, and you created the tool to do that.
Yeah, I mean, literally the first question from like 3 of the teams was like, can we change the metadata? Right? It's like a big deal. You don't realize how big a deal like branding is, or your logo, or whatever. Yeah. And yeah, it's huge, dude. And like literally there's teams that are like, dude, we just want we literally want to do this to change the logo. You know how crazy that is. You know, the damn impermanence of these damn blockchains, right? But that's a big deal for teams. Like they want a fresh brand. They want a fresh rebrand, you know? But yeah, super cool, man. We're really pumped that it, you know, thank God, knock on wood, it went well. And, you know, but psyched to work with some teams and actually, you know, push this out there and allow them to kind of, you know, get their second life. You know, pretty cool.
The old logo looks like Terrence Howard.
Yeah,
I was like, I was like, hustle and flow. Okay, that makes sense.
Oh, I get it now. Okay.
What we say is happy accidents in the business. Happy accidents. We try
There
to.
you go.
Yeah,
But we
man.
do have with Hustle, we do have conditional trading. Like, man, it's 99.999% done.
Real-
I think it's just a matter
Real
of-
quick though, for anyone doesn't know, what is conditional trading from your point of view?
Oh, the high, you know, smooth brain version. My favorite version is it's automated trading. So you tell Hustle a strategy, and Hustle can execute the strategy. Now, there's strategy for like me and you guys, which is like buy this when it dips and then sell it if it rips, or get out if it drops. Like basic, like that's basic. That's going to be Hustle at the beginning. I have freaking people who are like, well, he didn't follow my instructions. It's like, dude, the instructions are like this massive strategy. Start simple, right? Start simple, and he's going to get better as we go. But for very simple, you know, entry points, exits, you know, stop losses, he's going to work. And so I think that's pretty exciting starting point. Like this is all new. This is all new tech, guys. Like nobody in the world has this fully figured out yet, right? So, but at the beginning, it'll be really simple stuff like that. So I think it's going to be really, it's obviously, it's what everybody wants, right?
Yep.
It's an enhancement of what you get, you know, today with whatever Photon or whatever you're using, where you can do like one exit or one exit or one entry or one exit, right? Where if it dips, buy, if it rips, sell, right? You can do more than that, layers of that. Which I think is really interesting and will definitely help people trade, you know? So yeah, it's super exciting. It's going to get way better. Like, as I said before, this is as bad as it's going to be. It's only going to get better. But guys, you know, anybody listening, pump the fucking brakes. As far as, I'm going to put in, you know, this giant strategy, hustle, execute. You know, it's like, no. Start small. Let's figure it out. We'll figure it out together. It'll get better. It's not gonna be perfect. Don't bet your house on this stuff, but begin playing with it. And like all things with AI, man, it's gonna rip better quick.
Absolutely. And I actually experienced that with Hustle when you first launched. So, you know, I have all the faith in the world in you guys, because when I first used Hustle, when you first launched, I kind of was like, okay, I'm talking to this AI. And then I would basically try to get into these pump fund tokens. I would lose because I wasn't like, I was also learning how to use Hustle. So by the end of it, like I stopped for a while and I was like, let me try again. And then a month and a half later, totally different experience. And then now I'm saying, hey, Hustle, give me a couple safe 3 to 5x potentials. And he's giving me like maybe 3-5 token options with why he thinks each token has the potential of 3 to 5xing, and what some little red flags might be to each of them. And I started hitting 3 to 5x like tokens. I did, like literally. And so that's what I'm expecting here, is like simple in the beginning, but then a month and a half later, that experience will get better. And then 3 months later, that experience will be even better. And that's what I've seen with Hustle. That's my experience. And so that's what I'm expecting.
Totally. It's getting better daily, no doubt about it. And I think if you take it kind of step by step in that sort of process, including refining your own, you know, prompts and what you ask of him, like it's a learning experience. This isn't like, there is no, you know, AI on earth that you just set it free and it's going to make you money. That's a dream. That is not reality. There's anybody who tells you it's a reality is a fucking liar. Like it doesn't exist. But there are absolutely what you're describing, where you're learning and it's kind of learning along with you. Absolutely is it's happening, man, on Hustle. Are you seeing that? The studio instability is?
Yeah, I don't know.
You guys hear me okay?
Yeah, I hear you fine. Yeah,
okay, cool. Yeah, I'm just seeing that, man. It's crazy.
I'm not seeing no droppage.
I've never seen that. I've never seen that pop up before. Yeah,
it's weird. But no, I don't think so. I think we're good. I'm looking on YouTube now. It looks fine. But so I've always wanted a trading bot, because like I'm very emotional when it comes to trading. Right, I'm staring at the chart all day long. I would love a bot to but I never really knew how to do it or trusted them. But with something like Agent Hustle, I talk to ChatGPT every day. Right, so I'm very okay with how the AI works, and I'm very open to different things. So going to Hustle and saying, hey, take out a trade on Tesla, for instance, right? Tesla X, and when it goes up 5%, sell it, and if it drops below 10%, sell it, right? Like basically set my stop loss, my take profit, and stuff like that, all through Hustle, and then I can get up and walk away, and then come back later and to see if I was right with my guesses, right? If I was right saying to do that. So I love the fact that I'll be able to set it and then just leave my desk. It's kind of like what you guys say. It's away from keyboard.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's like the two superpowers now are like he can help you craft that strategy, which like monkey brains like me, I'm like 100% sell. It's like, but 100% might not be the best. It's like, no, actually 100% is what the monkeys think. So actually what you want to do is at 85%. That's where you really want to go, right? Because that's before the monkey brains kick in, right? And it's like, so you let him help you craft the strategy, and then he just executes the strategy, right? I think it's just, it takes like us, in our monkey brain strategy, and it notches it up a level, right? And then it automates those entry points and exits. And I think, being a first mover like you guys are, myself, like we have a real advantage here. Where look, you're obviously not going to win anywhere near 100%, but on the ones you do win, you're going to be able to, take profits at an acceptable level and stuff, and help craft that strategy and then execute that strategy. This is the dream. And, doing it here first with Hustle, like, dude, you're literally one of the first couple hundred people on earth who are doing this.
Yeah.
So I think, it's like enjoy it and use it while you can, because that VIG, the advantage, the alpha, it goes away quick, right? And now there are only a few hundred people using Hustle daily. And so, I think it's really cool that we get to be the first movers here and take advantage of it,
I agree. And with Hustle, I feel like you said in the beginning, the difference is it's like, okay, I was gonna say it's like getting into Photon, being one of those first users with Photon in the very beginning, except for the difference is that Hustle's ever evolving. You know what I mean? So it's like that's the difference between the products. Yeah, you can do product updates with Photon or new features asked, but this is AI is a living thing in a sense of that, right? So you're gonna get better answers and stuff like that. But I want to talk a little bit about y'all's team. So the Emblem team, we don't have to get into every individual person, but the one thing that I've noticed is the past year and a half when Emblem really started to kind of ramp up in terms of, hey, this is the vision, this is the goal, everybody needs to be like on the same page. You got people start taking positions, right, and focusing, like putting all their skill sets in the best place for the entire team. I feel like right now you guys are the most efficient I've ever seen with Emblem. Seriously, is that just from the outside looking in, or is it a mess inside, or do you guys feel the same way?
I mean, I think when you peel behind any small, I consider it small business, right? I'm like an old school guy. There's always a bit of chaos. And I think at the end of the day, typically with small businesses like this, and we're a team of 8 people, right? You have to be willing at the top, and Jake's at the top. You have to be willing to just work tirelessly. There is no substitution for that. And Jake and I, if I'm working 15 hours a day, he's working 16, right? Like there is no days off. There's no like, oh man, punch a clock, bro. Punch a clock. Like literally. I mean, I think at the end of the day, and anybody I know who's been successful, and I know a lot of people who are successful, that's always the attitude. This isn't even work. Like it's just, I want to do this, right? And I think we have that pretty much across the board in the company. It's like there is no I guess you would call it selfishness. There's no selfishness on the team, which I think that's we're very fortunate to find partners to be in the game with, and when you see that, you're willing to bust your ass even more for people, and I think certainly Jake is a leader when it comes to that, just like works tirelessly 24/7, no stop. I'm the same way, and and we believe in what we're doing. I mean, I think at the end of the day, if it was just like, this is kind of, I don't know, just something not so cool or not pushing the envelope, none of us would be super motivated. But dude, we know we're right on the edge of stuff here, right? And we're cutting edge, and being on the edge, shit often doesn't work, right? Or it doesn't make money, right? Which is stressful, of course. But at the end of the day, I also know, back to that kind of Slack story, and we've had to pump up the team quite a bit here, over the last couple of months, because it's like, God dang, we have this great AI product and we have 300 daily active users. Why don't we have 3,000 or 30,000, right? It's like, why, you want to be more successful, right? But I also know that sometimes, like, it's darkest before the dawn. Like you have, it's not successful, and then you have an absolute runner that beats the world, right? And I know that in crypto, that it's just one of these special places where if you hit a winner, it's to the moon. And hopefully, knock on wood, this migration tool is that winner for us. But if it's not, I don't give a shit. Like, we still have the best DeFi AI product on earth. Like, I'll keep pushing, and we're going to keep pushing until we win. That's it.
Yeah, man, 100%. But shout out to Landy. Landy's nice. You guys got Animal, and Landy is a TA expert. We had him on the show, do some TA and kind of hang out, some trading stuff. Probably a couple weeks back. But just shout out to Landy. So right now, you guys at Emblem, you guys have 3 products, right? We already talked about the Migrate.fun. We talked about Agent Hustle. You also have the jumping feature, be able to take your ordinals or NFTs from this chain to that chain. So now it's 3 projects. I feel like you guys already had a plate with a steak, a chicken, and a fish on it, and you guys now just added a whole bunch of mashed potatoes to that plate, right? Do you see that now that you guys have enough products? Or do you feel like maybe a couple years down the line you guys might add another 1 or 2?
It's really tough, man. And this is part of I think it's actually a real legit reason why we maybe had trouble raising, right? It's because we are this, like, we're an infrastructure product, right? Yeah. And it's kind of hard to fully express. It's not, I don't know, it's not pump fun, but on base, right? It's like not a very simple product that I can, like, just sell a vision to. It's an underlying technology. And so in that way, it's kind of you can flounder a bit when you have so much going on. And so in a way, what we've learned is you really have to show use cases to people for them to understand what you're doing. And I think with the Migratefun product, what we're doing is we're showing what the thing is, right? And it's kind of, for team to get adoption, you kind of actually have to do that. We've learned that. We did it with, when we migrated, Bell's coin inscriptions to Ethereum, right? It was like we showed, look what's possible, right? Or we migrated a fungible token, right? Or, and now we're migrating, we're actually, it's funny, we were joking about it the other day. We're like a migration company. We've migrated in our history like 5 different tokens, and we have a lot of history with this stuff. So it's kind of funny that, like, our underlying technology is just like moving stuff around blockchains, but that's what we kind of are. But for a lot of people, it's like, well, why would I do that? Or what is it? Or why? And so continually showing people why you would want to do this, I think is part of our job. And so that's what, when we saw this opportunity here, we're like, we need this anyway. Let's build out this tech, which we already have. Let's just kind of package it together in a way that makes sense for people. And, hopefully you get a winner. Sometimes you don't. Most times you don't, right? But once in a while you hit something. And obviously in crypto, when you hit something big, it goes massive. So hopefully, knock on wood, a couple weeks, this even gets bigger than it is right now.
Yeah. I like the fact that you guys have, because it can be tough because, Shannon is this, like, brain behind a lot of the things here. And whenever you start your business, like in 2015 or 16, when you started it, it's like your baby. And it's hard to let go of that baby, even if they're like 15 years old, I guess. No, but what I'm saying is that, but like, what it seems like is, like, Shannon has that passion for AI, so he's kind of like going into that, like, hardcore. Then you have like some new team members that are kind of behind the Emblem thing and saying, okay, I'm gonna take responsibility of heading this. And then you got you and Jake, the faces of the brand, really, and you guys do an amazing job doing that. So I feel like you guys are in that aspect, it seems like you guys are hitting everything in all cylinders, and it doesn't matter because you guys didn't force a product. It was you know what I mean? Like when you force a product, I think that's whenever you're like, we have too many. You created Migratefun out of a pain point that came from hustle, which was a passion from Shannon, kind of the AI stuff, and Emblem was the baby, right? So I think you guys are set up for really big success for the rest of this year and heading into 2026. And so if you guys are listening, you guys are listening, dive into Emblem.
I hope so, man. Look, it's really at the end of the day, you got to make money, right? And it can be very difficult. We see it all the time, even in real bit, you know, even not outside of crypto and Web3, right? Building a business that makes money is incredibly difficult, period, full stop. There is no like easy, there's no magical, oh, I'll do drop shipping and make millions of dollars. Like it just doesn't, in my experience. Like I've been at this thing for 40 years. I had businesses when I was 10 years old, right? It's never easy to make money. And it's certainly extremely difficult to make money at scale. Like to scale a business wide where you have, you know, hundreds or thousands of users and clients is extremely difficult. So getting it right, man. I mean, like, look, at the end of the day, it's Jake and I and Chris kind of strategizing what the best direction for this is. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of things that have to come into play and hit right. And that's luck and timing and market conditions and users and the right marketing and the right influence. You know, it's just, there's so many things that have to hit for something to hit. Right. And that, you know, I leave it to, you know, the universe kind of dictates that. All you can do is keep pushing. And so from a business perspective, we just keep pushing out product, keep trying to hit, keep taking swings, and, you know, hopefully you can.
Absolutely. And I can't believe I forgot Chris. Of course, Chris Dev, my boy Chris. He's awesome. Big part of it.
Oh, he's not in Mexico living the dream right now.
Oh, so he's on. Never mind. I take that back.
No, he's down there like friggin' climbing pyramids and drinking margaritas, man.
Yeah. Real quick, we have a comment on Twitch. We don't get comments, real comments on Twitch. So we got one. I love this content. Nice. I get to see every stage of Yagobi's beard growth.
Are you growing it full back? You're going to grow it all the way back, or what are you going to do?
No. Maybe for Polar Nights, if he keeps commenting, I might, because we don't get those comments from Twitch. But no, I just want to, you know,
I'm here for the beard growth, bro.
There you go. The stages. But yeah, no, I think y'all's team is awesome, and you guys are definitely filling out, you know. But you know, let's talk a little bit about markets. Like, so in terms of like what's happening right now, it's so volatile. Like, how do you view the rest of this year playing out? I know that's a tough question to answer, but just curious where your mind is now.
I think the money printer will get turned on, is getting turned on, and I think will crypto markets will rip higher. This is, I mean, but like, who fucking knows, right? Nobody knows. Like, anybody who's an oracle out there, everybody's just guessing, you know. I love people on the timeline who are like, called it. It's like, bro, you made 800 calls. Like, of course, but then a couple of them are right, bro. Of course.
Last cycle was the worst. Last cycle was the worst. You got Richard Hart, everybody.
Man, I'm like, bro, he makes 10 calls a day.
Yeah.
Of course. Broken clock theory, bro. Of course you're right. You know, big deal. I do one thing that's interesting though. I mean, we really are in like the ETF. This is really the ETF cycle, the Wall Street cycle. So it just hasn't played out on chain. We just haven't seen that those influxes of literally billions of dollars just haven't hit on-chain activity. They haven't. And so it's been a weird cycle that way. You know, there's been nothing, you know, the normies have not come this cycle. A little bit with meme coins, but just really in general, the normies haven't come. And
does that happen though, you think?
I think for it to happen, we'll take there has to be something that moves the needle for normies to get them on chain. And, you know, what would be that catalyst? I mean, we can all guess. You know, I would say something along gaming lines. I mean, we've seen it a little bit with Pokemon cards. Like, okay, Pokemon cards work, but that's, you know, it's not this, you know, hugely it's not like gaming, right? I mean, certainly Pokemon cards and what the guys at Courtyard have done, that's worked. It, you know, I might honestly, if you
we
guys
need
are,
more of that. We need
bro,
more
if
of
you
that.
guys are in Pokemons, I think we're at the Pokemon card top, bro.
It's not just me, bro. It's not just me that says Pokemons. Okay.
Pokemans.
Pokemon.
Pokemon. It's Pokemon. There's no S. There's no
I
S.
know.
The Pokemans, but the Poke cards, like bro, I'm seeing so many pack breaks on my TikTok timeline. I gotta feel like the top is in, man. If you're in the Pokemon market, bro, I feel I am calling the top,
dude.
Bro.
I disagree, bro.
All I see is pack breakers, just breaking packs.
So my brother is in that industry, and there's a big show like 4 times a year in Dallas, and I went to the card show last night, and Shizzy was asking me earlier. He's like, "So what's the bear market like over there?" And I was like, "If you have like a good brand, you don't experience bear markets really. Yeah, you can experience more money whenever things are thriving, and I said that's the difference between digital assets like the NFT market, collectibles and stuff. We haven't had mainstream adoption, not anywhere close. Last night, I mean, there was $1,000 cars that are low level cars just going left and right, left and right, left and right.
That's
People
right,
just buying.
Top. Tell your brother. Or was it your brother who does this?
15 years though, but like he's a top streamer on whatnot. Okay. So like he's got his little market corner.
Just tell him to take Adam's advice. Sell all. Dump it. Dump it. Hit the sell button, bro. I'm telling you, bro.
He has like 6 shops and like he travels or like he knows. He knows.
Tell him to sell it all right. Sell the shops. Sell the shops, sell all the
use it all to buy hustle, baby.
Sell it all, bro. I'm telling you,
all in on hustle.
If you look at, I mean, I'm not a huge into this space, but I know enough about sports cards and stuff like that to know that there are massive down cycles, massive. And like, I think of, the Pokemon brand and how much they've sold, how many, dude. I mean, those guys it's billions of dollars, but bro, the flood of those cards on the market, man, I am calling it. This is what's day today, July 4th. I am calling the Pokemon top, man. It is. I'm telling you, it's gonna be a bloodbath,
because Pokemon's been hot
bro.
for like 10, 15 years.
Yeah, they got really hot around Pokemon Go. And Pokemon Go, that's when like the pack drops were crazy. But like, I actually don't see that this is the top. A lot of the different reasons is like I'm seeing what you're saying as well. Like I'm on TikTok and I actually pay for some of those pack drops. I'm not gonna lie, just kind of messing around, and then just small ones. And but like I just see that the next stage, and you are right, we need something to bring people on chain, right? A lot of the normies got wrecked last cycle, right? In 2020, they all came in with their income checks, right? And all the mortgage their houses, they all had extra money, so they came into crypto, all got wrecked. They got wrecked on NFTs, and there's still a lot of PTSD that's in the market that kind of needs a fade. And you're right, having something like Pokemon potentially come on chain, whether it's Courtyard or whether it's somewhere else, right? Like having this stuff come on chain is going to bring a lot of normies in to say, when I do a pack break on TikTok or whatever, right? Like I do, I got to wait 2-3 weeks for those cards, right? Yep. But if you do a pack drop on Courtyard, you immediately can sell that card, like 100%. Immediately. Yep. So I think that's coming on chain, and I think that's the next layer.
Meta, yeah.
Oh, you think that? And you think that'll happen this cycle?
I think it's happening. I think it's happening.
We think it's happening.
Sounds like inside info, bro. How do I invest in this?
Just saying.
I mean, look, man. There is the market there. I mean, obviously, but I just know the way these things work, right? And when everybody's doing it, like that's a top, right? Yeah. And so I just see it as there aren't just 1 or 2 people doing pack breaks. There's dozens or hundreds daily.
A whole feed.
Right, doing pack. It's literally millions of cards being packed every day, looking for the, I don't know, Charizard, whatever. And
it's like a Volpion or something.
Well, no, there's a new rare like pack that you can hit, like the whole pack. What is that called?
Vaporeon. Oh, that one's crazy. That's
what I'm talking about.
Though. It's like $150. Yeah.
All of them are regular packs, but if you hit that one, it's like they're worth a lot. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like they're all PSA cards as well.
You also have to remember though, like this industry of collectibles has been around since the late 1800s, right? Cards, collecting cards, sports cards. It's been around for so long.
Like
Yeah.
it's not going anywhere at all. Like
God pack. God
you know,
pack is what's called.
but this is just like these things all roll in cycles, right? And I think looking back on it now, if we look back on this in 5 years, we might see right now, like there was an overabundance of trust me, they are printing to max, right? You can call it a God pack, but there might be 10,000 God packs out there, right? Is it really a God pack?
But you know what changes the game though? It's the grading. So when you grade a card, and it might be a rare one but you're like, there's so many rare ones, but when you get that PSA 9, 10, or 10, then that puts it in another classification. And the difference, Pokemon, I agree with a little bit more to where that cycle hits hard. But if you're talking about sports cards, the cycle is the season of the sport. So like when basketball is about to start, all the basketball rookies are hot. They're selling real hot, and the veterans too, the rookie cards of them.
Yeah.
And then in the middle of basketball season, those prices go low. Then football season's about to happen, and football season starts to get hot. It happens every year. It doesn't stop.
Is there any question? Humans just love gambling, bro. It's literally, I mean, look at this. This is like literally like 10-year-old kids buying. I mean, what is it but gambling? It's just
there's like 60-year-olds that love it.
It's like this is just human nature. Human nature. We love this stuff. It's like a core foundational thing. Whatever it is, that loves that gambling aspect of life, to be rewarded more than you put in. Like we just love that, and that's certainly not going away at all. And I think Web3 actually has this incredible opportunity to facilitate that, right?
100%.
No doubt about it.
And the thing is, too, like to your point, though, right? Like for me, like when I finally make it, right? For me, I'm not gonna have a Lambo stuff, but I'm gonna have a 1999 Charizard, right? I'm gonna have a Allen Iverson rookie card, right? I'm gonna have a Donovan McNabb rookie card. Like I'm gonna have the stuff that, like, when I look back in my childhood and be like, oh wow, I remember that. Like I always wanted, an AI rookie card, but I'm not spending $1,000 for that, right? Or I wanted a Charizard, but I'm not spending like $3,000-4,000 for that. It'd be stupid for me to have that when I can invest that money in the stuff that I know is going to go up, right? And these stuff might go up, but not the percentages of I'm going to need to feel like I made it, right? The gambling aspect of things, right? But it's like, to your point, like a lot of this stuff too, I feel like, when people do get rich and stuff like that, they're gonna look back on potentially the puppets, the node monkeys and stuff like that, being like, oh, well, I always wanted one of those, but never could afford it. And I think we're gonna get to a point where collecting comes to on-chain as well. Like, and for instance, CryptoPunks, or I would love a CryptoPunk when it's not a lot of money, when that feels like not a lot of money, right?
Totally.
They need to make the experience better though. That's the problem right now. Tangible, like when you do box breaks, like you sit there and you're like, if it's like a NFL box break, you get randomly drawn. And you're like, oh shit, I got the Seahawks. Okay, so now you're sitting there and he's doing the cards, and you're like, oh shit, Russell Wilson, rookie, whatever. You hit that. You don't get that in NFTs or ordinals yet, but I think that experience will come. And like doing slow roll mints, you know what I mean? Do it to where it slow rolls or something, make the experience better, and I think it will come.
Yeah, I think Yago's point is actually the main point, which is the emotional connection is actually the most important thing. I think right now, like us, we're Web3 natives. So, a puppet, certainly a CryptoPunk, these do have emotional meaning, but they don't really have emotional meaning for the rest of the world, right? No, but you do see it with like whatever CSGO skins or Fortnite skins or whatever. Those do have emotional meaning for those people who are playing those games. So we're seeing the first kind of real emotional aspects of digital items and digital ownership. So it's like it's a process, and this takes years or decades to kind of play out. But I have very little doubt, like basically zero, that ownership of NFTs, most will be worthless, but there are going to be many that are like highly valued for exactly what we're talking about here. The birth of ordinals, counterparty assets, old ETH NFTs, whatever. People have emotional ties to those things, and they'll be more valuable. 100%.
I didn't think about that. The counterparty. I mean, that's a whole genre in itself, right? That's Bitcoin. That's the first NFTs. Like
they're going to be worth so much down the line, bro. Once the collectors, like the mass adoption happens, But like to Adam's point, like the '90s baseball cards is the oversaturation that like they're worthless unless you get a Ken Griffey Jr. Rookie or something that's like, even though high volume, our NFTs and stuff will go through that, but the special ones, and then later down the line, maybe these big brands come into the space, and then those are more like premium when they're new.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think for like a collector's mindset, and obviously I don't have the perfect understanding of like what's the best thing to do. But when you start thinking about it, what you want to do is you want to think about, well, in a decade, like if you can have a long-term vision, in a decade or 15 years, how will people look back, right? And what will they value and what will they look at back and say, hey, this, counterparty assets, okay, these were the first, or say specifically with ordinals. Like what are the ones people are going to look back and go, oh shit, that one. And sometimes it's puppets or hey, maybe it was node monkeys, whatever you want to say. But it could be something as simple as, Bitcoin frogs, right? Because Bitcoin frogs were kind of almost the first 10K one that kind of popped, right? And so are people going to remember that with an emotion? Is it going to be emotion that kind of grabs them, And sometimes these ones can go through like these bears when nobody wants them, where you can pick up a whole bunch, and when it rolls back, man, it'll roar back.
Yeah.
So just something to think about, when, the early people who were there, we were all there during those times, which ones are just like, garbage now. But then when it comes back, like, remember the ordinals exploded, fuck the frogs, something like that might be something to keep an eye on.
Inscription numbers will matter, in my opinion, a lot down the line. And then obviously like counterparty and stuff. I know there's some collections of counterparty. There's like so many, but it won't matter. I think the special ones will thrive. Like, they'll have so much value in the future because they're overlooked. They were overlooked by mainstream NFT because the last cycle was so ETH NFT based, But when I heard about some of the sales that you guys, contributed to in terms of bridging those over to Ethereum, I was shocked. And then that made me go down the counterparty hole a bit, which I still need to go deeper into. But yeah.
I mean, for me, like from a collector's perspective, when I talk to people about, investing into NFTs, I typically go, tell them to do art first because it's the easiest to understand and it's the easiest to extrapolate out. Because once an artist is kind of celebrated in traditional circles, those tend to hold the value through. And so there are well-established ones that, are ETH based, which, will hold their value. But I think to the Web3 native person, there is the same sort of thing. And those can become established like node monkeys or puppets or whatever have you, where the Web3 native looks at that as a collectible that I want to own when I get to a certain like wealth status, as Shizzy was saying, right? So whatever, it's a puppet or it's a crypto punk or whatever, where we as a crypto native want to hold that down the road. And I think, during bear, it's maybe not time to do it now, but during the next bear where these things get like super cheap and you think, well, this is the time, right? So just thinking about that a little bit long term. That's the way I kind of
100%. Yeah, man. I did want to jump into the founder vaults because we're getting kind of close to time to these things to pop open, right? Which means so you guys set these to a certain block height, and what these are what's a 2 million Emma vault keys, which is a Bitcoin rune, and you guys lock them in your vaults, and you print it one of these NFTs on the other side, which is Ethereum for this case, and at a certain Bitcoin block height, these runes unlock. Correct? Could you kind of get into that a little bit?
Yeah. So basically, I think it's the end of September, more or less. It's not a specific day. It's by block height. Those will unlock, and you'll be able to trade the runes natively. You don't have to. You don't have to unlock the Emblem Vault, but you can, and you can trade the runes natively. It seems like the timing is going to work really great, right? Obviously, we've had the news with Dog. Very exciting to see runes get on Kraken. If we, if maybe knock on wood, we might be perfectly positioned for them to do like a utility token on Kraken would be pretty amazing. So yeah, seems like the timing's kind of finally hitting. Man, it's just great to see the regulations get so open that these big exchanges are willing to, onboard these runes is amazing. Obviously, Dog leading the way. But yeah, it's just really, really awesome. I just think that's a regulatory thing. Like they would have never done this a year ago, right? But now it's time, you know.
And the foresight for you guys to mint this, last April, or whenever it was, very early in the runes area. You guys saw the foresight of locking these tokens up until September, October. I mean, absolutely insane. I thought you guys were crazy. I thought you guys would have missed the bull run, but you actually going to be in the very early stages of it.
Right? I mean, maybe, like again, it's this broken clock. Maybe right twice. I mean, who knows, man? But yeah, it seems like the timing might actually hit. Sometimes you got to roll dice, right? You're sometimes these are just bets on directional, and we thought runes were going to be, the fungible token standard on Bitcoin. Is it going to be? I mean, we think it is. We still think it is, but obviously the Kraken news is a big deal, and it seems like hopefully this might actually work out right. And there may be, we're already in talks. There may be some extra bonuses, I should say, in the founders vault. So
ooh, I like extra bonuses,
but it might be nice to have a couple of those founder vaults. So
nice.
Hell yeah, man. You guys can go to OpenSea, just type in founder vaults, and then make sure that you're looking at the right stuff there. If you guys need any help, you can reach out to me. I'm sure reach out to the Vault team to make sure you're buying the right thing here, but just make sure they look like this. Make sure everything's good. Founder vaults, up there, December 24th, 1,000, all this stuff. So check out everything here at OpenSea, and then you guys see all the founder vaults. But Adam, man, it's been absolutely awesome having you, man. Really appreciate your time, but would love to give you a few more minutes to talk to the audience.
Well, happy 4th, man. It's Freedom Day. Although we may be living in a non-free state, it doesn't even matter, bro. Freedom is always accessible through crypto, man. And so keeping the freedom flag alive here in crypto is a big deal. I think we're in one of the most important industries on earth, and it's all about freedom today. So happy to share the day with you guys, and have a great weekend, guys.
For sure. Appreciate it, Adam. We'll talk soon.
All right, guys. Later.
See you, buddy.
Bye.
Absolutely awesome having Adam, man, having the team from Emblem on every week. So cool to really talk to those guys and really kind of get their feel for the markets, because Adam's been someone who's been in the Bitcoin space. I mean, before it was cool to be in the Bitcoin space, right?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, he has the historian like him and Jake and Leonidas too. They're the NFT historians, right? A part of that community and stuff. So, but I love what they're doing at Emblem. I wanted to talk about that earlier today when I brought that up, just because I'm impressed of how kind of how they're running on all cylinders right now, and they got a lot under their belt right now, but they're hitting home runs. So we'll continue to see them do that. I'm very sure of it.
Yeah, 100%. And we got to get into Fluid Friday, because I totally missed out on that earlier. So much news into the markets today, but let's jump on Fluid Friday. So Fluid tokens, they are building some really awesome stuff here. So they're building on Cardano, but they're also building on Bitcoin. You go to Bitcoin now, right? And for the first time, you go to the airdrop, you see a thing called Alkanes. Guys, they've built this. We've actually tested this for them. You can actually send, methane. I think the 3 on there, you can send them all. But the 3 they have listed right now are Alchemist, Diesel, and Methane. But if you do create one and just want to do it yourself, you just got to put your own information in here. Like for instance, for Alchemist, you can go get their code, pop that in there. You can go to ID Club or wherever and put that in there, and then just make sure you know how many decimals. If you need help knowing with decimals, you can go to stuff like OrdiScan and stuff like that for each individual token. And if you made it yourself, obviously you know how many decimals and stuff like that. So definitely check out this if you guys want to airdrop. Staking vaults are coming, right?
Yeah. So this is a big announcement. We got some info from Raul and his team, but we've been talking about the dog season 3 staking, and what they're trying to do here is really kind of bring some synergy between 2 meta protocol communities, right? Alkanes has been in the spotlight and Runes as well, kind of simultaneously the past 3 months. And what they're trying to do is have people stake their dog and earn Alkanes, and kind of vice versa as well. So there would be 2 options for the staking vault. You can stake your Alkanes to earn dog. So we thought that was a great idea. So if you are in the Alkanes community and you have a project there and you want to be a part of this, reach out to Raul or just their team. If you go to their X account, you can message them. But the best way to get in contact is through their Discord. I'm excited for this because, look, Alkanes, you can't deny the momentum that they have. but also you obviously can't deny the momentum that Dog has had recently. And I think this is going to be a really cool staking vault. What do you think?
Yeah, dude, it's gonna be awesome. You know, and the ideas that they were kind of throwing around and asking our opinion on are really awesome. The fact that potentially you might be able to stake something and earn something completely different, right? So
Yeah.
I don't know. There's going to be a lot of different really cool stuff here that's coming, and you know, potentially staking Dog and earning something else, and then other way around, staking something else and then earning Dog. This is an opportunity here for a lot of people who maybe have one asset and don't want to sell it, don't want to do anything, but you can actually stake it for a couple months and you're time locking it, right? So you're not even like giving up. Normally, when you think of staking, I'm giving up my asset. Not in this situation. You're just actually locking it in your wallet, right? Time locking it to a certain block height, receiving your asset back. But when you receive your asset back, you actually get a different asset potentially to come along with it.
Yep, exactly. So that's going to be the difference here. But I think this is really cool. Another example of how they've been really innovative on the Bitcoin blockchain, right? But another thing too, and I think this and one other thing, but for the Cardano side, because they build on Cardano and Bitcoin, I do want to share this tweet because I think this is pretty breakthrough. Let me make this a little bit zoomed in here, though. I want to read this tweet. So it says, oh, I went too far in, but anyways, it says, time to get bullish again. The first on-chain transaction proving the Bitcoin state just settled on Cardano. This makes the beginning of the Cardano Bitcoin bridge built by Fluid Tokens and ZK Fold. Strong narratives are amazing. On-chain proof is so much better, and you can actually see the proof of the Bitcoin state being posted on Cardano's blockchain. So, you know, this is a ZK proof right here. So what does this mean? This means that you can do things on Bitcoin and prove it on Cardano. And if you can do that, you can kind of reverse engineer it to do the same thing on the Bitcoin side. So what they're working on next is kind of fulfilling what they believe is the destiny, and we do too, of kind of Cardano being a scaling layer for Bitcoin. So that's what's coming up next. But just know that they're building this capability to prove states on Bitcoin, on Cardano, and eventually Cardano on Bitcoin. So using Cardano as that scale layer is going to be really, really interesting and exciting, I think, because that's what I think is the future of Bitcoin ecosystems. A bunch of layer ones are going to be servicing our assets. I've said that for the longest time.
Yeah, 100%, dude. And think about it this way too, right? I asked ChatGPT, I put this all in ChatGPT and I said, hey, explain this to me like I'm 15. And ChatGPT said, okay, imagine you post a tweet on X and you can actually prove that you posted that tweet on Instagram, right? So that's basically what it is. You're doing something on one chain, but you're using that proof to potentially do something else on the other. So I can basically lock up my Bitcoin over here, and then without doing anything, the Cardano blockchain actually paying me out the yield for doing something on a completely different chain, because it's able to prove that I've done this thing, and it's able to give me the assets that I'm asking for in return. So, and think about it this way too. You're going to be able to lock up Cardano assets on Cardano and prove to the Bitcoin blockchain, hey, I've done this, so give me this rune for doing that. So that's going to create a lot of different things, whether it's bridges, whether it's staking, whether it's this, whether it's that, but it's going to create this brand new type of overview for everyone to see exactly what you've done on different worlds.
That's wild. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, interoperability is here.
I mean, it's actually, that's kind of how you can utilize it as a scaling solution, as is basically what they just proved is doing what you said you're going to do on Bitcoin, and you get the reward on the Cardano side, right? So that's really huge. So guys, we're in this I think time period of innovation especially around Bitcoin. I'm excited about it. I think you guys should be excited about it as well. Yes, everybody's going to have their own threshold of what they think is their self-sovereignty in terms of controlling their assets and all that stuff. That's fine. That's why there's going to be so many different options, right? So that, I just say keep an open mind for innovation, because I think it's going to be huge. And the last thing on the Fluid side, if you are a FLDT runes holder, expect liquidity to be added to Dotswap very soon. They are thinking next week, but don't, just be a little bit patient, but they are shooting for that time frame. So another utility rune has come and joined the club here, and as you heard earlier, Emblem's going to be another one as well. So utility rooms are going to thrive. It's just when, and we've already seen stuff like Liquidium kind of take center stage, but there's going to be more like FLDT and Emblem founder vaults and stuff like that.
Yeah, 100%. So they're saying potentially on Monday, if not Monday, potentially like early next week, you're going to be able to come to Dotswap here, and they're going to be using Dotswap's brand new technology of
Nexus.
decentralized LP pools, which you're right is Nexus. That given it a name, and they're going to be coming here. And I've actually been lucky enough to kind of see in that chat room of them kind of building this out with the Dotswap team. Absolutely phenomenal by the Dotswap team. It seems to be very a lot. It's a lot. So but they're making sure that's decentralized and making sure it's right. And when you're swapping on Dotswap, especially when you're doing the newer swaps, right? You're going to be using this decentralized version using like insane tech that they're able to do this stuff on the Bitcoin blockchain. So innovation is here, and it's coming from Dotswap. But Fluid is going to be a token now. So when you go to Sats Terminal in the future, when you go to these different places, you're going to be, when you go buy the Fluid token, you're going to be buying it through Dotswap's liquidity pools. And it's going to be awesome to see. And then they are going to be creating a bridge as well. So if you do have FLDT on Cardano, they're going to create they actually want to create it decentralized, but for the beginning they're going to do it in a centralized way. But you're going to trust the team that put the token out, right? So you're gonna be trusting Fluid team to be doing the trustless swaps for you. But then eventually, when this technology of the ZK rollups are done, you're basically gonna be locking your Fluid token up on one side, unlocking it on the Bitcoin side, and then when you're ready to go the other way, you can go to the vice versa, all using that ZK rollup technology that they're building. They're building this stuff for a reason, guys. Fluid is going to be one of the top builders, and they've already are one of the top builders on Cardano, but they're going to be, I mean, I guess they are now.
Yeah.
They're one of the top builders on Bitcoin as well. So really excited for what they're building there.
Absolutely excited about it, and you guys just look forward to that. Make sure you're following them, join their Discord. They have a team waiting there to answer any of your questions. And I think, do we have anything else, or does that wrap up the show today?
That's our
Awesome.
July 4th 2.5 hour special for you guys today.
Yeah. We don't take time off, so you can. No, I'm just kidding. That didn't even make sense, but it's okay.
Well,
you guys can listen.
No, you're
to
right
us.
though, because like you got this guy. He said, wait, not that guy, not the beard guy, but I'm gonna kill myself now. The one guy. He's basically said, I drive a truck all week, so it's nice. I'm able to pop in for this. Where is that comment? Yeah, Vagabond. 100%, brother, on the road trucking right now, and always grateful to hang with you guys. So it's absolutely awesome, man, that you guys listen to us while you're working, while you're with your families. Really awesome. Myself says America. Appreciate you guys.
for sure. We appreciate each and every one of you guys. I know I say it every day and it sounds like it's just repetitive, but we truly do mean that. We love you guys. We care about you guys, because without you guys, we couldn't do what we love to do, and that's to research the space and be able to tell you guys the news and give you some opinions and stuff like that, of course. But so we definitely appreciate you guys, and we also appreciate our partners as well, as they help us kind of allow us to do this as well. So if you could check them out, we would greatly appreciate it as well. Sats Terminal is the DEX aggregator swap for the entire Bitcoin ecosystem. They aggregate from places like Dotswap we just talked about, or RunesDex, or Magic Eden, right? And so you're going to find the most liquid and available tokens there. And you can actually earn Amber points as well. When you first hook up your wallet for the very first time at satsterminal.com, you'll get 1,000 Amber points. What are Amber points? Amber points are points that are going to go to the early adopters, the testers, the people that support them in the early days. They're going to do an alpha give back to you guys dependent on these points. So make sure you guys are following the Amber is Forever campaign. You can figure out how to earn as many points as possible. But you can trade for all types of runes, of course, Dog, $1 Billion Cat, all those popular ones. And you can trade for Alkanes as well, as they support the Alkane standard as well. So head over to satsterminal.com, dive in today. And then BetBTC is the predictions marketplace of the Bitcoin ecosystem. This team is working behind the scenes to release the latest version for you guys. It's going to be amazing. You guys are going to be able to earn 1.5% of custom markets that you create for your followers. It's going to be based on the total transactional volume there. And then you can refer friends and earn 1% of the total volume there. You can place bets in their Blitz markets, which is a 10-minute market countdown clock that's running constantly, to where you can either pick Bitcoin, BNB, or Solana, pick up or down, and you get an additional 10-minute clock to see if you were right or wrong. Head over to betbtc.win, dive in to their docs and community there. And then Emblem, we just talked to Adam for a pretty much an hour, right? So you got to learn about Adam and what his background is and all that stuff they're building with Agent Hustle. But Emblem Vault is going to be allowing you guys to jump your Taproot Wizard. Right now, you can do it from Bitcoin Layer 1 to Ethereum. You can take a loan out against your Taproot Wizards on the Gandhi platform there on Ethereum. But you can also, bridge over other things. They call it the jump feature. So you can jump over Repepes, frogs, all that stuff to Ethereum. You can mint it over there. And then you're going to be able to do this on Base, Abstract, eventually Solana as well. And once they added Bitcoin tech stack to Agent Hustle, you can use Agent Hustle to do those things for you on your behalf. But right now, you can use Hustle to guide you through the jungles of Solana. We talked about that today. They're going to be adding conditional trading to Hustle. I'm super excited about that because you can put simple directions in there. Hey, buy Solana when it pulls back 20%, exit when I make a 50% profit, stuff like that, right? So you can be at the forefront, be an early user right now. And right now, it's actually free to use Agent Hustle, but soon in the future, you're going to have the Hustle token to have access. They'll put information out once that changes. But head over to agenthustle.ai to learn more there. And then also they have their Bitcoin rune we talked about September, October-ish. If you do participate in the pre-sale or want to, you can go to OpenSea.com. I think it's .io. I'm sorry, OpenSea.io, and you search Emblem Founder Vaults, and you can purchase a NFT. And then once those tokens unlock, you will have access to 2 million of those Emblem Founder Vault tokens. It is a Bitcoin rune. Head over to emblem.vision. You can learn all about that there. And then Artura.finance is the perps and leverage DEX of the Bitcoin ecosystem. This team is going through a lot of exciting stuff right now as they're about to launch their mainnet with Botonics, the spider chain Bitcoin Layer 2. Botonics is live right now. You can actually go to their site and get familiarized with it. The more you use their site, the more Bitcoin you can earn. That is their give back to their early users there. But also Artura has an XP system as well, so you can kind of double dip here. Make sure that you are taking advantage of that because we don't know how long that XP system is going to last for. But they're also going to be launching on Hemi Bitcoin Layer 2 shortly after the Botonics launch. But you're going to be able to trade synthetic Bitcoin fungibles at Artura.finance, like Dog Go to the Moon, $1 Billion Cat, Ordi, Sats, and popular tokens outside the ecosystem, XRP, Tau, Ethereum, tokens like that. If you're not a trader, you can participate by adding liquidity to their vaults, right? It makes the platform stronger. And so that's a way you can earn XP as well. Head over to Artura.finance today. And then Fluid tokens, we just talked about them, so I'll go over briefly. They offer staking vaults on Bitcoin Layer 1. If you want to participate in the Season 3 of Dog, you can potentially earn Alkanes by staking your dog. And on the Alkane side, you can stake Alkanes to earn dog. If you're an Alkanes project founder, reach out to the team. Tell them that you want to be involved with that. It's a good way to promote your project as well. Also, you can use their airdrop tool on the Bitcoin side. You can airdrop runes. You can either use a CSV file approach, which is an Microsoft Excel sheet or a Google Sheet, right, file, and then you have the addresses already on there. You just upload it directly, or you can do it manually. You can airdrop runes or Alkanes. They've added Alkanes to this as well. It's really cost efficient, quick. So definitely recommend you guys researching that. And then on the Cardano side, you can add liquidity to their Aquarium platform and earn Babel fees that way. So really excited for this team and the features they're going to release. Head over to fluidtokens.com. Join their Discord. They mentioned that is the best way to get in contact with them, by the way. And then Tokyo Wallet is the multi-chain smart wallet. They are building for the best UI UX for Web3 users. If you have an Apple iPhone, head over to the Apple App Store. If you have an Android, head over to Google Play. You can download the apps there. You can actually swap directly in their app for runes, Dog Go to the Moon, whatever runes you want, as they partnered with Sats Terminal to aggregate for them, and then Dex Hunter to aggregate on the Cardano side. So you can swap for like SNEC or other Cardano tokens, FLDT, Tokyo as well. Also, they have an alpha feature in their app where you can find us and other YouTubers. So it's really made to be a one-stop shop, guys. So check out Tokyo.io and stay tuned because they're going to have SUI support as well. And then Merlin Chain is uniting Bitcoin strength through the power of AI. You can utilize their AI tool, which is their wizard. And stuff like that. Speaking of staking, you can actually help secure the chain there at merlinchain.io. If you click on the stake drop down, you can stake 3 different ways. With the Bitcoin side, which maxes out at 100 Bitcoin. Last time I checked, they're at 65. So there's about 35 of Bitcoin left before it hits that threshold. But it does lock up till September 30th of this year. But you can earn anywhere between 8 at a minimum to 21 at the maximum percent APR. So stake Bitcoin to earn more Bitcoin. And then also on the Merlin chain side, there's 2 options. The flexible, which is a day-to-day option, you earn 15%. You can claim your rewards every single day, but it does take 7 days to withdraw on the day-to-day. So just remember that's their processing time. And then there is the bonded, which is a 6-month lockup period that you can earn 45% APR, and you can claim those rewards every day. Merlin Chain just got listed on Kraken, by the way, the Merl token. So congratulations to Jeff and his team. They've been doing an amazing job with their branding, just building the strength of their brand continually. So head over to merlinchain.io to learn more. And lastly, don't forget about our integrated partners, Jungle, formerly Foxy AI, building the metaverse on Bitcoin called the Bitverse, and the first-person shooter game called Cypher Striker, and Ordinal Hive. We're going to have Fonzie on next Thursday, so make sure you guys tune in with that. They are going to be, prepping for their go-to-market launch. It's going to be exciting. You're going to be able to find the cheapest ordinals at Ordinal Hive, and they have some really amazing trader tools as well. Thank each and every one of you 296 that have hung out with us this entire time. Thank you guys.
Did you hear the news?
No, what?
Remember the Bitcoin that moved? They found out who it was.
Who was it?
I mean, I'll just read it to you.
Roger?
Today, United States government signed an agreement with Bitcoin and crypto pioneer Roger Ver. It's a beautiful agreement. Mr. Ver agreed to support the U.S. Bitcoin stockpile with a gift of 80,000 Bitcoin. And in return, will receive the first United States Bitcoin visa. Mr. Ver is a very smart man, a beautiful man, and America is lucky to have him. As I have always said, the U.S. government will never sell the Bitcoin in its stockpile. You never sell your Bitcoin. Thank you for your attention on this matter. So the Bitcoin that we're unlocking were Roger Ver sending them to the government wallet.
Wow. Oh my gosh. That's July 4th too.
Oh, July 4th, Independence Day. So he's in jail right now.
Now he's getting out.
And so he's not an American citizen. He pushed his American citizen away when he went to think. So now he's obviously getting out. 80,000 Bitcoin. This guy was sitting on 80,000 Bitcoin. Like that's like $8 billion. That's $8 billion. That's over
crazy.
$8 billion.
That's crazy.
Wild.
That's crazy.
I gotta know if this is true or not, but
I know. Me too. I don't know.
Udi is where I got it from, and now I'm getting some from Mega. This guy Mega, he has 2,000 supporters. I don't know how true this is, but if it is, it does make sense though with all the Bitcoin that moves.
KDN.
Okay,
it's fake.
I'm about to say that is wild. That is like a KDN for that.
I was looking at Bitcoin's price and I was like, it's not pumping. So that's weird.
I got it from Udi. Screw Udi, man. But damn. So
the OMG part that's hilarious.
I know, but wow, it got me for sure. But still, it's pretty cool for the show anyway. So anyway, you guys can check out OnChainRevolution.io. Some of the best articles dating all the way back to 2023. If you guys know someone who's really just trying to get into the space, send them our website. Really feel like it can help them get started and caught up to what we have today. You guys can go back to like days like in December and kind of get the feel of what was going on. January, same thing. It's really awesome because we do put out these articles weekly, so definitely check them out. NordVPN, I highly recommend everyone get a VPN, guys. It is the most best way to be online. You do not want to go to these websites and giving them your IP. It's stupid. It's dumb. It could actually lead to them getting your address. You don't want that. I don't want that. Especially if you hold Bitcoin, you definitely don't want that. And on top of that, you might get geo-blocked, right, by some of these websites who think they're doing the right thing for whatever, right? But it's stupid because it's not your country that's blocking you, it's the website. So by using a VPN, you get around all that nonsense and get able to use the products that you want to use no matter where you are in the world. That's privacy. That is a VPN. Highly recommend Nord there. And if you guys need merch, we have some of the best merch in all of crypto. Check everything out here at OnChainRevolution.io. I'm going to be adding some new stuff over the weekend, so if you have some time, check it out. If there is anything that you want us to add, just let us know. We can add anything even your PFP if you wanted it. It doesn't matter. We can pretty much add anything for you guys. Just let us know. But remember, we are live Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Pacific, and 3 p.m. UTC. Check us out all week, guys. And until Monday,
peace.
OnChain, 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 OnChain. OnChain revolution roll call. Market recap. You're not bullish enough, no. You're not bullish enough, no. Look at the price go. Bitcoin control. Why you still coping? Price action rolling. Don't fall for bear trap. Swapping indexes and putting it up in the sex. I can take profit right now. OnChain is where I be now. You can never look back. They don't want you to know. How did the market react? Fear and greed, gotta adapt. Now we bridging the tokens and marching the network right now. You know how crazy we are. Nookies are savages now. They know how crazy we are. Chain abstraction, main attraction. OnChain revolution.